ọmọ Ìbàràpá lápapọ̀ ẹ jẹ́ a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Akin ọmọ Yorùbá lápapọ̀ tìlé tó kó ẹ̀mí àbọ̀ ẹ bá ń kọ́mọ Adéyẹmọ Chief Sunday Adéyẹmọ Ìgbòho orúkọ ńlá tí ń jámọ́ láyà bí àrá orúkọ tó ń dẹ́rù bo lórúkọ gan-an ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ má sùn o torí pé bùrà a kò lè fojú kégbodò láyé títa ríro lẹ̀dá ń kọlà wúrà tó máa dán alànà kọjá dandan o ọ̀wọ́n irin ní má bẹ̀rẹ̀ wọ̀nà ẹ̀dá kan ò lè ṣì wá lọ́nà mọ́ ẹ jẹ́ àfìmọ̀ṣọ̀ kan ká lè débi re ẹ jẹ́ àjọ gbárùkù ti Sunday Ìgbòho ṣá ọmọ Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ nílùú Alágbàdo Òde ọmọ atapẹ̀tẹ̀ wọnú omi ọmọ gègèlè wodò sànyà ìsànyà ò rẹ́ràn bàbá yín láàrin ìdí omi kò sì náà ń kán sí yín lẹ́nu ọmọ òkúta mẹ́ta òkè Ìgbòho ìkan ń ṣe yín ní dábọ̀dàbọ̀ ìkan ní mọ́ rọra ìkan tó kù nígbà tí wọ́n ò mọ̀ Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ kí ló dé Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ sí ọmọ òpópó sanran ìgbàgede Ìgbòho sùn wọn láláìsí bẹ̀rẹ̀ wọn ní kó ní bẹ̀rẹ̀ ó máa kó bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ ẹ̀sìn ò ní bímọ méjì ní Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ bẹ́sìn bá bímọ méjì ní Ìgbòho àfikàn pọpọ sí amúkan yòókù bọ sànyà àtúmúyà rẹ̀ tí ò lọ́rọ̀ gbọ́ àfiṣẹrù wálé wàrà mòjé ọmọ onílé ọlà àwọn àjòjì tó ń ṣe ségesège tọ́láwọn ò ní bomi kó sí mu wọ́n láwọn ò ní bomi sànyà wẹ́sẹ̀ ìgbà tójú kò fi rí ńkọ́ gbogbo wọn náà sáré bomi kó sí mu wọ́n sì bomi sànyà wẹ́sẹ̀ ọmọ abẹ́rẹ́ mẹ́ta òde ayé ọ̀kan ṣẹ́ ọ̀kan tẹ̀ ọ̀kan tó kù ní gbogbo ayé ti ránṣọ kiri gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá Sunday Ìgbòho onírèlẹ̀ láéláé torí àbá lásán nìkan ń dá òkúta ò ṣe gbé fún wọn o ìmọ̀ràn lásán ni ti balùwẹ̀ kò pọ́sibú kó dòdò láyé ń bí ó kún díẹ̀ kí tọ́ domi láéláyé ìtọ́ mi lè domi Sunday Ìgbòho arógun má ti dí tó ń jà fẹ́tọ̀ Yorùbá ní tilé tó kó.
Kí ló kà? Kí ló wí? Kí ló ọ̀dọ́? Kí ló kà? Kí ló kà? Kí ló wí? Kí ló ọ̀dọ́?
Ìgbà ọ̀tun ti dé ọmọ Odùduwà. Àsìkò ọ̀tun ti dé ọmọ Odùduwà. Kò ṣẹlẹ́yàmẹ̀yà mọ́ ọmọ Odùduwà. Kò ṣẹlẹ́yàmẹ̀yà mọ́ ọmọ Odùduwà. Àsìkò ti tó láti gbára wa lọ́wọ́ ìjọba amúnisìn o. Àsìkò ti tó ọmọ Odùduwà. Àsìkò ti tó ọmọ Odùduwà. Kò ṣẹlẹ́sìmẹ̀sìn mọ́ ọmọ Odùduwà. Àfẹ́lẹ́yàmẹ̀yà mọ́ ọmọ Odùduwà. Àsìkò ti tó láti gbára wa lọ́wọ́ ìjọba amúnisìn o. Ọmọ Odùduwà rìpọ́blìkì asọ̀wásowó asọ̀wásọmọ asọ̀wásálàfíà àìkúbalẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ àfẹ́lẹ́yàmẹ̀yàmọ́ àfẹ́lẹ́sìmẹ̀sìmọ́ àwọn ìjọba wa ara wọn nìkan ló ń jà fún ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ gbé rìpọ́blìkì láwùjẹ Odùduwà rìpọ́blìkì ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ gbé lárugẹ kó lè san wá sówó kó lè san wá sọ́mọ asan wá sálàfíà àìkúbalẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ àní àsìkò yìí ti tó ọmọ Odùduwà. Àsìkò yìí ti tó sẹ́ ọmọ Odùduwà. Àfẹ́lẹ́yàmẹ̀yà mọ́ ọmọ Odùduwà. Àfẹ́lẹ́yàmẹ̀yà mọ́ ọmọ Odùduwà. Àsìkò ti tó láti gbára wa lọ́wọ́ ìjọba amúnisìn o. Ẹ jẹ́ ká dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ àwọn gbogbo àgbààgbà Yorùbá látòrí emeritus professor Banji Akintoye comrade mi ńkọ́ Victor Taiwo olóyè Sunday Ìgbòho ẹ bá mi tọ́jú bàbá tèmi ààrẹ Gani Adams àti gbogbo Yorùbá akíkanjú ọmọ Yorùbá tó wà lókè òkun látòrí Mr. Adékúnlé Adépọ̀jù àní ìgbà ọ̀tun ti dé ọmọ Odùduwà ìgbà ọ̀tun ti dé ọmọ Odùduwà àfẹlẹ́yàmẹ̀yà mọ́ ọmọ Odùduwà àfẹlẹ́sìmẹ̀sì mọ́ ọmọ Odùduwà àsìkò ti tó láti gbára wa lọ́wọ́ ìjọba amúnisìn o. ẹ̀ ń kókó Oòduà Republic ó náwó ẹ̀ sókè èmi náwó mi. ẹni tó ń fẹ́ Oòduà Republic ẹni tó ń fẹ́ Oòduà Republic kó náwó ẹ̀ sókè ni èmi náwó mi. ó ń f'Oòduà kó náwó ẹ̀ sókè èmi náwó mi. ẹni tó bá f'Oòduà Oòduà Republic kó náwó ẹ̀ sókè ni èmi náwó mi.
No going back. Ìgbòho òòṣà iṣẹ́ rẹ̀ tẹ̀síwájú. Mr. Koiki ẹ ṣé o, àwọn ọmọ mi ló kí i o. Àwọn ọmọ mi ló kí i o. Lágbára Ọlọ́run, a máa délé rèé o lórúkọ Jésù. Yorùbá nation.
And a very good evening and welcome to the Sunday broadcast. Mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá káàkiri gbogbo àgbáyé. I welcome you into the conversation. My name is Olayomi Koiki and I am Koikimedia. For the benefit of those that probably never know, I have sacrificed and I am still using my media from a freelance journalist. I know a lot of people probably think that níṣẹ́ lọ́wọ́ la ṣe ń ṣe tá à ń ṣe, and let me give you a quick response. This, what I'm doing, is a job. Is a job that is asked to be done by somebody. Whether you disagree with the views that our support, that I do not regret saying, my loyalty is for Chief Dr. Sunday Adeyemo Igboho. My loyalty is to my leader and our boss, Professor Adebanji Akitoye. And I have to continue to remind you that without the two of them giving further instruction, we would have to wait for the progress of Yoruba nation. Gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n náà ti gba country, let me say this clearly again. Tí gba country, Nigeria is still a sovereign nation, but it is now imminent to break up. Let me repeat again. If tẹ́ bá ti ń gbọ́ káàkiri pé ìyá kan ti bá wa gbàlú, bàbá kan ti bá wa gbàlú, àwọn kan ti gbàlú, all that is nonsense and nothing of sort has happened. because Nigeria is still running as a country as at today, the 12th day of February 2023. Nigeria ò tí break up and Yoruba nation kò tí wáyé, àmọ́ ó máa wáyé lágbára Ọlọ́run, whether Nigeria likes it or not, because the Biafra will go, the Middle Belt will go, and likewise the international community. Tá máa sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí lálẹ́ yìí. What has been their views? What is the views of the Yoruba people? And let me repeat it again. Let me repeat it clearly, just for the benefit of everybody. My name is Olayomi Koiki. Chief Mrs. Modupe Onitiri has not got a country for us yet. Àìtí gbàlú. Let me repeat myself clearly again. Chief Mrs. Modupe Onitiri, wọ́n ti gba country. Gbogbo tọ́kọ̀ ṣe ń ṣe yẹn is called an illusion. Orúkọ tèmi ni Ọláyọmí Kóìkì, ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú Òde, confirm ọmọ Yorùbá. Wọ́n sì ń ṣe awareness ni, but wọ́n ti gba ìlú fún wa. Nigeria remain a country as of today, and it is still a country that the international community are engaging with. And nobody has declared to say that declaration is valid to take the Yoruba people out of Nigeria. That again is an illusion. I take that country. But I will take you through a lot of process and what people have said even as far back as 10 years ago. This program might be a long one, but you would have to sit down and follow the conversation. Bí àkọ́kọ́ bá ń sọ fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pé wọ́n ti declare, it is all lies, nothing of sort. They can write letter to the European Union, they can write letter to any countries that we want our own nation. It is our right. We have been telling you that in the last 3 years. But one thing I can say is, Nigeria is at the imminent stage. Láti pín. It does not matter whether those of you that are saying that but election ti súnmọ́, kí ni probability pé Yorùbá máa lọ àbí kò ní lọ. Nigeria itself máa dàwó, and the Yoruba people would have their own independent sovereign nation. The Biafra will have their own independent nation. Those that are concerned about the smaller ethnic groups within Nigeria, let me say this. Ibì kan ni gbogbo wa ti ń ṣayé kó tó di pé àwọn European dé, àwọn colonial master dé, tó dá gbogbo ẹ̀rú. So whether the Delta refuse to go with whoever, whether the Edo refuse to go with whoever, those will have their own ways and they will decide how they want to line up in what is known as Nigeria today. Nigeria máa pín. Gbogbo declaration tó náà ṣe yẹn, it is all not going to work as presently as it is right now. So it is just a push which they are doing. There's nothing wrong in that. My name is Olayomi Koiki of Koikimedia. I might not be educated to some extent, but I have lived here in UK for the last 24 years. And if I don't know anything, at least this is a country that colonized Nigeria. It is not until the UK government approved our breakup Nigeria, but Nigeria itself, that is one of their last empire, will fall apart, and we will have a good relationship with the British government and the British people that some of us have lived with for the last 24 years, for welcoming us. But our identity that has been shielded under the 1914 amalgamation, we will continue to tell the international community that the imminent breakup of Nigeria is no longer something that we can hide away from. Then they should all be prepared for whatever is going to be the aftermath of the breakup of Nigeria at any point in time. We only have one leader. It does not matter whether we have as many groups around the world that are representing Yorubas. But the only leader that is still confirmed as of today is Professor Adebanji Akintoye. It does not matter wherever you think or whatever you think about him. And like I said again, the only two people as of today that the international community and Nigeria itself knows that if they say go, Nigeria will come down within the space of 1 hour. And those two individuals is well known by the Nigerian government, also by the international community. These two individuals are not criminals. These two individuals are not also people that they are looking for around the world. Àwọn méjèèjì, they are known as freedom fighter. And they are there to protect and make sure that the Yorubas and the Biafra would have their exit plan out of Nigeria with peace or pieces. Even the federal government of Nigeria knows that these two individuals, you cannot joke with them. We are talking about Dr. Oloye Sunday Igboho and likewise Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The government knows them very well, and that is why the government is making every attempt to assassinate them if possible. Nnamdi Kanu home was invaded by the federal government on the 17th, in 2007. And as we know, after the invasion, Nnamdi Kanu escaped just by tiny fraction. He could have been killed. And the Biafra conversation will not be what we're going to be discussing today. Likewise, the same thing. Oloye Sunday Igboho escaped the assassination attempt on his life by the federal government. But again, in 2021, Oloye Dr. Sunday Igboho escaped by the twinkle of an eye. But as we speak today, àwọn méjèèjì has a powerful voice at any time that voice will be activated. It does not matter whether it will be at the last minute. We know that the crowd, the Yorubas, whether the young, the old, will go along with whatever they say. We have a good alliance with the Biafra, and that alliance remains as it is. We will continue to tell the international community the imminent breakup of Nigeria is not something that we can hide anymore. We know that the election is now calmed down, but we can also say that part of what we have been discussing, that the three political parties are already making a lot of threats to the average Nigerians. They're still imminent to coup in Nigeria by Atiku having meetings. We have told you before. And also that the cabal within the HAUSA Rock are not ready to let Peter Obi become the next president of Nigeria. And that was why Lagos yesterday, almost everybody that support Peter Obi was almost killed by the APC thug representing Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Tinubu fẹ́ make sure pé àwọn tó ń support Peter Obi ní Èkó wọn ní ráyè ṣe gbogbo campaign tó fẹ́ ṣe lánàá, and we saw all those images on the social media. We know that Atiku is planning his own within the destabilization of what is known as Nigeria today. So we are giving this notice ahead to United Nations, the European Union, Americans, United Kingdom, that the three political parties are prepared to create mayhem and chaos in Nigeria. So for the best interest of everybody, it will be best to let us wind down Nigeria, because the imminent state that Nigeria is at the moment, we are also saying that those that have said that they do not believe in Nigeria are now also campaigning like Tinubu. Tinubu said it before, I don't believe in Nigeria, But because of the turn to Konisin, he believes in Nigeria, and likewise, as we know, there are so many stakeholders at the present day Nigeria today that will favor Nigeria, but for the selfish interest, not the interest of the indigenous people. I am now using this opportunity again láti sọ fún international community, all the mainstream media around the world, your searchlight, your beam light will focus into Nigeria within the next couple of weeks. We know that the politicians are planning, from the G5 that disagree with Atiku, from the inside cabal of those that want to destabilize Tinubu's mission, from those that also want to hand over Nigeria to the terrorists. All this is taking place in the next couple of days. And we are saying again and again that we, the Yorubas, would not want to be part of this system. We would rather want to have our own independent country. I repeat again, if you have just joined me, we have not got a Yoruba nation yet. Gbogbo ẹni tó bá ń sọ fún yín pé ti gba country, it is all mirage, and that is an illusion. And I can challenge them to a debate at any time, any day, at any hour, in any platform. Yoruba nation has not yet been declared. What they've been doing is just to try and change the mindset of millions of people. But that is not a problem. We can deal with that. What we are saying to those that are campaigning and those that are followers of all these three political parties, Emma, get involved in the debt of these politicians that are ready to sink Nigeria for their own selfish gain. Once again, a very good evening and welcome to the live transmission. My name again is Olami Koiki. Let's go with our first video this evening.
Impediment to Yoruba development is the impediment to Yoruba development. Without Nigeria, we won't be where we are. 1962, we were far ahead of South Korea and North Korea. We were far ahead of China even. We had television before France. We had radio before South Africa. Now look at where we are today. I think it's a shame that even any Yoruba man can be talking about restructuring at this point in time. What are we restructuring? This country that is already shot to pieces? I don't think that's what we want. But they are always talking about giving Nigeria a chance. The patience of Yoruba with Nigeria has come to an end.
George Akinola, our brother, our father, our uncle, speaking some few years ago, somewhere around 2017, that anybody bashing believe in Nigeria, we are all fooling ourselves. He said it clearly in that almost less than 42 seconds video, that Nigeria is at the imminent stage of breakup. Some of the previous American ambassadors said, there's a lot of article to go through tonight. There's a lot of evidence base. There's a lot of conversation. There's a lot of discussion around whether Nigerians should remain one or we should have it break up into smaller unit of countries. Some disagree that the bigger we are is better, while some say the smaller we are, the better. Kí ni Yẹmí Ọ̀sínbàjò sọ some few years ago? A máa gbọ́n tó sọ. A máa gbọ́n tí olúkálùkù wọn sọ. But let us listen again one more time to our brother, our uncle, our father that have been fighting for the Yoruba nation cause before some of us also picked on it. Once again, we appreciate those that have been working so that kíran Yorùbá kó lè bọ́ kúrò nínú Nigeria. Nigeria is at the imminent stage to break up. Like I said, we don't have a country yet, but we would have a country of our own at the right time, within no space of time, but at the appropriate time when a proper declaration will be made. I know some of you are thinking that there was a country that was declared. All that is an illusion. Nobody would accept such nonsense and that kind of declaration. My name again is Olami Koike, and I challenge them to a debate at any time, at any platform, so that we can talk about it, whether Nigeria is still a country, whether Yoruba has been declared out of Nigeria. Ìran Yoruba ò tí kúrò nínú Nigeria, but the process and how we will get out of Nigeria will definitely happen because Nigeria itself is falling apart day by day.
Impediment to Yoruba development is the impediment to Yoruba development. Without Nigeria, we won't be where we are. 1962, we were far ahead of South Korea and North Korea. We were far ahead of China even. We had television before France. We had radio before South Africa. Now look at where we are today. I think it's a shame that even any Yoruba man can be talking about restructuring at this point in time. What are we restructuring? This country that is already shot to pieces? I don't think that's what we want. But they are always talking about giving Nigeria a chance. The patience of Yoruba with Nigeria has come to an end.
Into the conversation. Lákọ̀ọ́kọ́, there's a lot of slide and there's a lot of information I want to dish out. I will speak in Yoruba as much, but a sọ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ Gẹ̀ẹ́sì náà. Mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí tó bá ṣe ń darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. Gbogbo ibikíbi tó bá ti ń sọ pé ìran Yorùbá ti gba òmìnira, irọ́ bámbásá ló wà níbẹ̀. Mo dẹ̀ challenge wọn sí any debate, ní any time, ní any platform, pé kájọ jókòó, kájọ sọ. Ṣé a ti gba country àbá ti gba country? Bí a ti ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ lálẹ́ yìí, ìjọba Nàìjíríà ló ṣì ń control Nàìjíríà. Àwa ọmọ Yorùbá ò tí ì ní access láti sọ pé a ti ń gba ìlú wa débi pé a lè pàṣẹ lórí ẹ̀. Àṣẹ tí wọ́n ń pa lórí Nàìjíríà lálẹ́ yìí, Federal Government of Nigeria láti Aso Rock ni wọ́n ti ń pàṣẹ yẹn tó jẹ́ Abuja, the capital city. Gbogbo ilẹ̀ Yorùbá pátápátá abẹ́ ìjọba Nàìjíríà ló wà, àmọ́ àwọn tó ń jẹ́ ẹni tí ó ń tọ́jú ẹ̀ pamọ́ fún àwa Yorùbá, òun ni àwọn gómìnà tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ fún ìjọba, whether it is PDP, whether it is APC, and that goes from Kwara State títí dé Lagos State. Kò tí ì síbì kankan tí ọmọ Yorùbá sọ pé àwọn làwọn ń control resources orí ilẹ̀ wọn ní alẹ́ yìí. So gbogbo bí tí wọ́n ti ń sọ pé ẹ ti gba country, irọ́ ńlá ló wà níbẹ̀. But Nàìjíríà ti wà ní state tí ó gbọ́dọ̀ pín, nítorí pé Nàìjíríà ti fẹ́ pín, kò ń ṣe lẹ́ni ni wọ́n ti ń sọ. Nàìjíríà ti fẹ́ pín látìgbà tí àwọn kan ti fẹ́ yọ jẹ̀gá kúrò lẹ́sẹ̀ nígbà tí wọ́n kó gbogbo àpapọ̀ ní 1960 that led to the civil war. And up to date, the question is, should we go into another civil war and then everybody go their separate ways? It might not be the best option because it will create a lot of collateral damage. But some are saying that the monster that we are dealing with today, the northern part of Nigeria and the Yoruba politician, wọ́n fẹ́ jẹ́ kí Nigeria kó pín for their own selfish gain. And once again, thank you so much to our 43 full members on Koikimedia that are paying subscription fee. I was only able to see that today when I was going through my back end. And likewise, everybody that have continued to support us. But those that say that they were supporting us before, we can watch it. I might be different from those that you are probably pointing finger to. I am a freelance journalist and I am using my media to educate and prepare to use to bring down Nigeria. Whether Nigeria will divide within its own internal problem, tí and witness lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́, because gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n support Peter Obi tí wọ́n fún láyè pé kó máa ṣe tó yẹ kó ṣe, as we saw in Lagos when the APC thug of Bola Tinubu was attacking them. It will fight back within this 2023 in February. Whether it is the PDP that is trying to manipulate and use the military to overthrow the government, from the inside information that we have been telling you, it will eventually bring fight between the internal wrangling. Whether it is the APC that is already divided within themselves, all I can say, fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá tí ó sì ń rò pé kóun lọ dìbò, please don't make your way to those polling units. There is so much firepower between the PDP. Wọ́n ti ra oríṣiríṣi weapon tó fẹ́ fi destroy ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, and we will not give them that opportunity. But at the appropriate time, our leaders will give us further instruction. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wá ń sọ pé ó ti pẹ́ jù, ìyẹn ni illusion pé wọ́n ti gba country fún yín. I challenge Mrs. Onitiri to our interview together, myself and her, to prove that she has not got a country. Once again, my name is Olawumi Koiki. Mo challenge Ìyá Modupe Onitiri to a one-on-one interview together on any platform, just to prove to her that she has not got a country. What she has done is great things she has done in her own little capacity. But today, my name is Olawumi Koiki, and I put her on a challenge at any platform. Face me, I face you, on a Zoom, on any network to be broadcast by anybody, that she has not got a country for the Yoruba people. And she will not be able to say that she has got a country until she can have a debate with me, Olayomi Koiki of Koikimedia. Let's continue with the program this evening. And now we go into the conversation. First and foremost, my first slide tonight is picked up from the Cambridge University Press. Oi, British interest and the Nigerian Civil War. And this is a reference to how the civil war that took place some few years ago. And when I say few years, we are talking about from 1967 to 1970, when the civil war broke in Nigeria. Kí ló fà? What do we know? And this source is the Journal of African History, volume 49, number 1. It was put together in 2008. And also, it goes like this. Justal is a not-for-profit service that helps scholars, researchers, students discover, use and build upon a wide range of content in a trusted digital archive. We use information and technology and tools to increase productivity and facilitate new forms of scholarship. That is the meaning of gesto. Kí ni wọ́n kọ nípa Nàìjíríà? Òun la fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí. And as you can see, this was put together under the Cambridge University Press. Is collaborating with Justa to digitalize. Gbogbo nǹkan ti wà digitalize. Fáwa tí a ti kàwé níbí báyìí. Not like the shito country Nigeria where everything is still manual. Let's go into it as well. Oi, British interest and the Nigerian Civil War by Chibuke Uche, University of Nigeria, Enugu campus. We will go into it. It's about 26 slides, but we will try and see as much as what we can get from it. This is an abstract. Using newly available evidence. Evidence ni gbogbo nǹkan láyé. Wọ́n náà wọ́n ti gba country. There is no evidence to back that. So we don't want to be talking too much on that, but we are discussing the evidence that this particular researcher is discussing around the civil war tó ṣẹlẹ̀ between the Biafra, the federal government of Nigeria, and the rest of the ethnic groups that either one way or the other, whether supported their fight or not, and also the views of what took place from the outside country. And let's go into it. Using newly available evidence, mainly from the Public Records Office, now the National Archive in London, this article attempts to unravel the true extent of the role that the British oil interests played in the decision of the British government to insist on a one Nigeria solution in the Nigerian Biafra conflict. Our question tonight is, are we going to see similar thing happening where Nigeria will become one solution, but now it is not longer between Nigeria and Biafra, it is now between Nigeria, Biafra, the Yoruba, and the Middle Belt. And why am I saying that? Because the Middle Belt are also saying that they are also opportune to be given a chance. Emma Binu, we might be moving around the slide because the reason why I want to back that is I also have a video that I picked up in readiness for this part of the conversation. And that is where this particular group of people, the Middle Belt, àwọn Afenifere, they were speaking on whether if the Igbo people are not given the opportunity to remain as the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, then the United Nigeria should be destroyed, and that is the imminent state that we are now. Nigeria is going to break up. Let's listen to this quickly.
These are leaders from different parts of southern Nigeria and the Middle Belt, as well as presidential aspirants from
we do not own the copyright to this. Any video that we are using tonight is just for educational purpose, and they can take down that video. So be at the bank broadcasting this stage, there might be probability that the video might be there or the video is not there. But the video that we are using right now is on Channels Television, 2023 election, Southern and Middle Belt leaders canvass for Igbo presidency. Our Yoruba nation under Professor Adebanji Akintoye àti Babawa Chief Dr. Sunday Igboho, Babawa Ayiloge, and all those that are in support of Yoruba nation do not endorse, do not support any political party, but we are using this as part of the reference to what we are picking up from what the new evidence is saying from this abstract. And it says, and I quote again before we play that video, Bukini interest the British oil shell in the decision whether Nigeria remain the same thing. Ṣé Britain ṣì máa continue within the same sector as it took place in 1967? We are no longer in 1967. We are now in 2023. The Yorubas are saying that we want to go. The Biafra are also saying the same thing that they said in 1967. The Middle Belt are saying the same thing. But the question then is, ṣé tí Peter Obi ò bá wọlé, should we then be thinking and preparing for the crisis that Babawa Afenifere saw? Should we also now say that if Peter Obi do not become the president as they are thinking, then the United Nigeria must break up? Is the British going to support that? We don't know their views, but let's listen to this.
The campaign for the presidential tickets to be zoned to the southeast.
The organizers of the forum say the Southeast has continuously been marginalized, and the 2023 presidential election presents an opportunity to address this problem.
This unbridled hunger and brutish disregard for the rights of others has thrown Nigeria into multi-fronted, multi-layered social unrest.
Speakers from different parts of the country call on political parties to zone their presidential tickets to the southeast, just like it was reserved for the southwest in 1999.
Why everybody must support the candidature of an Eastern origin for presidency is because the northern people don't want to yield power. I told Tinubu himself, not in the papers, face to face. You believe this man is the breakthrough president? He said yes. I said, the breakthrough president, he asked Yoshimaji to contest, he asked Fayebi to contest, he asked Amosu to contest, all in the West. Why? He wanted to divide the West first. President Goodluck Jonathan allowed himself to be disgraced by mentioning the fact that I'm still considering that to be president. For what?
Develop and birth a nation which we can all call our own. We need equity, justice, and fairness.
Some of the presidential aspirants speak of their agenda if elected president
is to lead Nigeria to become a globally competitive nation
that will become a first world nation, achieving.
We got the message there. So if we go back to the reference that we were using right now, Tabakpadasi, slide yìí, the civil war that took place in 1967, 1968, 1969, and up to 1970, until there was now evidence to indicate that the British was also supporting that particular agenda. And apart from this slide, remember that we also have this particular video that we can use just to quickly back the conversation that is going on right now. Let's listen to this. One minute. Once again, a very good evening and welcome to the program. We come back to that video. It seems that that video needs a bit of adjustment. I will definitely come back, later on to that video. That is Dr. Ugo. I'm not sure what's wrong with that video. Let's see if we can try from this particular side quickly, just to buttress the conversation that we're going along. I think it's there right now.
Let's
take off the other one.
Which was this country of Nigeria, where they kind of took a bunch of independent who don't have anything to do with each other, don't even speak each other's language, don't relate. Many of them were even enemies and warring at the time. Smushed them all together and drew these arbitrary lines around them and called them countries and named those countries.
Right.
And then said, now y'all get along and do a country for us and be a union for us. And then go through, contentious, bloody independence processes that never really yield any real independence. You're still part of a commonwealth afterwards.
True.
And you have the eternal meddling in your affairs and the eternal extraction of your resources and the eternal fomenting of divisiveness and infighting in order to be able to control you. This is what an oppressor does, a colonizer does. These are tactics and strategies of dominance.
Right.
We were subjected to that as a larger unit of Nigeria. And then when the Igbo people said, we want our own thing, let's go and do that. Well, it so happened to be that the territory that this new country of Biafra was going to be in included very, very rich oil reserves.
You had that very well there. It's called a very, very reserved oil. And oil tondo leni topping operates in Nigeria. Majority of it is coming from the southeast part of Nigeria today. Let's go back into that.
And the British were not going to let go of that.
Wow.
And that also is backing this new evidence that we are reciting to you. One Nigeria, the British oil interest played in the decision of the British government to insist on a one Nigerian solution in the Nigerian Biafra conflict. The question now is, the Biafra are still agitating, the Yoruba are agitating, the Middle Belt are doing the same thing. Are we going to see a support to the same entity Nigeria against the Biafra, the Middle Belt, and the Yoruba? We now have three structures of people or indigenous people to fẹ́ kúrò nínú Nigeria. Ṣé Britain máa support the agenda yẹn or not is a question mark. But what we are reciting back to you is the evidence from what we have in front of us on what actually took place during the Civil War. Let's go back and listen to the final part of the 39 seconds video of Dr. Ugo.
And the people that they put in power, their puppet Nigerian governments weren't going to do that either because they needed it for the Nigerian project.
Right.
And Britain needed it for its own interests and uses. So Great Britain got directly involved in this civil war and in the war for independence and decided that they would do everything to make sure that Biafra did not go.
Wow.
And this everything meant directly funding genocide of the people of Biafra.
And you heard that very well there, that they also supported that agenda. Now, let's go back to the slide quickly and let me increase a bit of the front for the benefit of those of us that are following this conversation. Let's drop it. It needs to be too much. Again, one Nigerian solution in the Nigerian Biafra conflict. While the official position of the British government was that its main interest in the Nigerian conflict, ìyẹn nínú ogun tó ń jà lọ níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn ní 1967 yẹn, was to prevent the breakup of the country along tribal lines. Interest wọn níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn ni pé kí Nàìjíríà má pín kó má dàbí ìgbà tí gbogbo ẹ̀yà máa dá wà. They have about 370 ethnic groups in Nigeria. So the interest as at that time was not to allow it to break. But what is the interest now? We have seen from some of the letters, from the correspondence that we have received back and back all the time. Itatikba, so many times, that we have read that the British government still believe that whatever we are facing as Nigerians today is an internal problem, leadership problem, and those that are going to destroy or destabilize the election, they will not get a visa to UK, or also that all the problems that we are discussing today can be resolved. But one man also back to say that the only country that wants the unity of one Nigeria is who? Let's listen to him.
Thinking about how we've been having this conversation about the unity of Nigeria. And I reflect back at some of the prominent statements made by some of our founding leaders. And I feel that probably this will help us to have a conversation on the Nigerian unity. I just brought four, not to bore you. First, and I quote, not my statement, Nigeria is not a nation. It's a mere geographical expression. There are no Nigerians in the same sense as there are English, Welsh, or French. The word Nigerian is merely a distinctive appellation to distinguish those who live within the boundaries of Nigeria from those who do not. This is accredited to Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the former Prime Minister of the Western region. The second one, and I quote, it is true that we politicians always delight in talking loosely about the unity of Nigeria. 60 years ago, there was no country called Nigeria. What is now Nigeria consisted of several large and small communities, all of which were different in their outlook and beliefs. The advent of the British and that of Western education has not materially altered the situation. And the many and varied communities have not knit themselves into a composite unit. This is accredited to Sir Amadu Bello, former Premier of Northern Region. The third, and I quote, since 1914, the British government has been trying to make Nigeria into one country. But the Nigerian people themselves are historically different in their backgrounds, in their religious beliefs and customs, and do not show themselves any sign of willingness to unite. The Nigerian unity is only a British intention for the country.
Well, and you heard him very well there. And if you look at the background of that letter to what they want to screen wide, this letter is one of the so many letters. See, I want you to correspond to the British Nigerian unity in UK. And that letter said clearly that there is nothing that the British will do because Nigeria is still a sovereign nation. So if we go back now to our slide, which we are reviewing tonight, it says there again that while the official position, ibi tí àwọn Gẹ̀ẹ́sì, ibi táwọn wà as of today, níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn ní 1967, was that in this main interest in the Nigerian conflict was to prevent war. Tó bá sọ pé prevent war, pé jẹ́ kí nǹkan tí ó máa break Nigeria kó wáyé níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn on the tribal line. The question is, how much longer can everybody hold Nigeria together? And quickly, just to buttress that again, the US representative at some point says there is no evidence níbi kankan tí US sọ pé àwọn fẹ́ kí Nigeria kó pín. Ẹja gbọ́n tarákùnrin sọ.
No one in the US government ever predicted that Nigeria would break up in 2015. I've gone back, I checked. No one ever said it. Inti,
the former American ambassador tó sọ nígbà tí wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe election 2015, ẹ mọ̀ pé jọ́nà náà ó tense just as bó ṣe ń lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ nísìn. Ó tún wá mọ̀ tenser, ó tún wá gbóná ju ti tẹ́lẹ̀ lọ. Inti a witness ní 2015, ó yàtọ̀ sí ta fẹ́ witness ní 2019. Ó yàtọ̀ sí ta fẹ́ wá witness ní 2023, because we now have 3 political parties, and each of these 3 political parties, there is a tension that might also lead to the imminent breakup of Nigeria. Peter Obi is an Igbo man. Yoruba man is Tinubu. Fulani man is Atiku. and they are already playing the ethnic card. But the US says, according to their ambassador, the former ambassador, that Kowuti Lowo gbogbo bi tóun lè wò. And as far as what he's saying is what we have to take. But I hope that in the near future, when archives are being released, files are being declassified, we will not see anywhere that the US also admit or believe in the breakup of Nigeria. But as of today, we are going with the word of the former American ambassador that says, and I quote, that òun ti lọ wo gbogbo file, òun ti lọ wo gbogbo everywhere. Kò síbi kankan tí American government sọ pé Nigeria máa pín, but let's listen to that again.
No one in the US government ever predicted that Nigeria would break up.
Ó ní kò síbi kankan tí America predict pé Nigeria máa break up.
In 2015.
Ìyẹn ní 2015. Àmọ́ ṣé views yẹn ti change from 2015 to 2023. We know that the American ambassador, even though I promised that I was going to get the interview that she granted, but if I can lay my hands on that interview, I will bring it into this conversation. And yet the new ambassador representing the US government in Nigeria, she granted an interview, last week Friday, where she will be discussing the view of the US government on this election. We will see if we can bring that to us before the end of this program. Let's go back to this gentleman again.
I've gone back, I checked, no one ever said it. So let's just take the silly notion that my government predicted the breakup of Nigeria, and let's just throw it out the window.
Only capture out of the window pé ìjọba America sọ kò síbi kankan tó ti sọ pé Nigeria máa break up. So if anybody, and that was in 2015, but like I said, the view of the American government as of today is that elections should go ahead. They are not endorsing anybody. They are not supporting anybody, but Nigerians should be allowed to go and vote. Vote for Igbo man, vote for a Yoruba man, or vote for HAUSA man, or come back home to where we are prior before the 1914 amalgamation. All this is playing out in what is known in Nigeria today, and all that will be find out before the end of this month.
Here we are together in Nigeria in 2015. Do any of you think Nigeria is about to break up? I don't.
Okay, Owusakwe, do anybody think? But Owule Masobe, he's not a Nigerian. He's just a representative representing the interest of his own government. So there's no way he's going to say that he wants Nigeria to break. But me, Olayomi Koiki, of Koikimedia, a Yoruba man, an indigenous man, will prefer Nigeria to break so that I can be identified in my own language. I can be identified in who we are as the Yoruba people, not as an Englishman. I'm not an Englishman. I'm a Yoruba man. So the American ambassador, we don't expect him to say that he will be happy if Nigeria break up. But his view is different from the millions of the Yoruba people, millions of the Biafra, the Middle Belt, even Baba Fenifere, that says that the united Nigeria must be destroyed and crisis should be expected should Peter Obi do not win the election in this particular upcoming election in the next few weeks.
I see a country that, yes, has many challenges.
Okay, they are not disagreeing that we have many challenges, but one of the biggest challenges that we have is the nepotism, the subjugation, and the system that does not favor we, the Yoruba people. We are not who we are told we are, even though the American government might not be pleased with such. But we hope that we can have a proper conversation with representative of the American senator, the House of Reps, and also the American President Joe Biden, that will be traveling to Poland anytime soon, I think in the next couple of weeks. And just as they are also defending the freedom of people around the world, we believe that the American government should look into the indigenous people that are crying out loud now that we do not want civil war in Nigeria. We want Nigeria to be broken into pieces and we can have great relationship. And if there's a crime, we want to know that he's a Yoruba man, like that fraudster that is in your country right now. We want to know that he's an Igbo man. If he's a criminal, we want to know that he's a criminal. If he's an HAUSA man, we want to know that if he's a cocaine pusher like Tinubu, you should deal with him. And if he's a fraudulent man like Atiku, as a Fulani man, deal with him. But we don't want you to mix everyone together and call us Nigerians. And our people want to come to America, but they are being tagged as Nigerians criminal. We want to know if it's a Yoruba man that is a criminal. We want you not to give them the visa. We want to have our own country, and I believe Joe Biden, a man that has always talked about the freedom of the people, freedom that is so much important. He said so in the last United Nations conversation. And before Joe Biden, maybe we should listen to the previous former American president, a man that is well loved as well. We're talking about Bill Clinton. This is what he has to say. And listen carefully. He also mentioned relationship or something that is got to do with the Civil War. Joe Biden. So, I mean, Bill Clinton before we come to Joe Biden.
But our historic memory includes the notion that your greatest days were under Ivan, Peter the Great, and Catherine the Great. In other words, when you could control your neighbors. And people don't want to be controlled anymore.
You had him very well there. If Bill Clinton says that people don't want to be controlled anymore. We don't want to be controlled by our politician that is also suppressing our lives. We want to be respected as people. And that is why we are saying that the unity of one Nigeria is no longer working. We want our right to self-determination. And like I say, it is still a challenge. And whatever now to country, I want us to have a debate together so that we can sort these things out once and for all. We don't have a country yet. The process of getting a country is still what we are doing. And that challenge is already on the table from tonight. And I'll be ready, even at the shortest time, on any platform to debate with Mrs. Modukponitiri that we don't have a country, we are still working towards getting a country. Nigeria is still a country as of tonight. Nigeria is still a sovereign nation, and I put a challenge to her at any time, any day, where we can have that conversation. Let's go back again to Bill Clinton that is saying that people do not want to be controlled. Nigeria is currently at the imminent stage of breakup, but we do not want that breakup to lead to a civil war. American government must stand up right now, the United Nations, the African Union, because this election itself is going to bring the violence, the anarchy, the crisis, the tension in the country with the fuel scarcity, the naira change, the political gladiator, the coup, the interim government. Every mixed bag is already in February. February 14, let us remember, is also a blood time. Tẹ́bá lọ wo gbogbo history tó ń pè ní February Valentine, ẹ̀jẹ̀ ló máa ń mú wá. A fẹ́ tàjẹ̀ sílẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá, àmọ́ tó bá jẹ́ pé nǹkan fi pa wá ni, we must be prepared to defend ourselves with everything that we have. It does not matter whatever it is. My name again is Olami Koiki. Let's go back again to Bill Clinton.
You could control your neighbors. And people don't want to be controlled anymore. They want to be free to chart their own course. I'll never forget the first time.
People don't want to be controlled anymore. Fẹ́ jẹ́ kí ọ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan control wa. Fẹ́ jẹ́ kí West control wa. Àwa fẹ́ dá ṣe tiwa, and then we can have relationship with the West. We can have good relationship with America, with United Kingdom, with countries around the world. We can be identified as who we are rather than the current state of things where the Igbo people are being threatened in Lagos State because they do not believe that they should be in Lagos. But I live here in UK. I have Somalian friends. I have Jamaican friends. I have people from around the world. And we live together under the rule of law. But in Lagos, if you think that the Igbo people are not meant to be there, we only need to fish out the criminal ones, and everyone that has the right to be there must be there. And if you are saying that the election that has already been played in the ethnic card, we are seeing that people are saying that Igbo people is the right people to be the next president. But the Yoruba are saying, no, we want to vote for our own because it's a Yoruba man. The Fulani are saying that we are not going to vote Tinubu, even though he has brought Shetima, this terrorist man that had a terrorist hidden in his house, and they are only waiting for whatever is going to happen, and they will hijack. And my question for ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń sọ pé tí àwọn tó bá débẹ̀ nísìn, what happened after 8 years? Are we going to be running around again? In 8 years' time, doing the same thing, the failed President Muhammadu Buhari that destroyed the economy, that put the poverty level to where we've never seen it before in the history of Nigeria today. As many Nigerians are crying, many Nigerians are asking for help from wherever they can get that help. And that help is not coming anytime soon. You know why? Because Nigeria economy is zero. We don't have the money. We don't have what it takes to help our people. All our debt was paid at some point. Those debt now is gone to almost 70 trillion. It will take us the next 60 years ká tó san gbèsè yẹn tán. Gbogbo tẹ́ ń rà tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀. And we know that the present Nigerian government of 8 years also played a part using the terrorists to cajole Nigerians. And if you're thinking that the military are there to save your life, maybe we should listen to this before we go back to Bill Clinton again.
Every one of us must rise up. The armed forces are not neutral. They collude. They collude. They collude with the armed bandits. They kill people, kill Nigerians. They facilitate their movement. They cover them. If you are depending on the armed forces to stop the killings, you will all die one by one.
A man with impeccable military credentials, the warden of Rhodes House, who was Admiral Viscount Montgomery's aide de camp in World War II, said, you know, you're going to have to leave Vietnam for the same reason we had to leave Nigeria.
You have to leave Vietnam for the same reason they left Nigeria during the Biafra War. Bill Clinton was actually saying this. So we are knowing that the American government in 2015 says there is no evidence anywhere. Táwọn sọ pé Nigeria máa pín, but we understand that. But we are now saying to the US government to look into the present agitation. Those that are asking for their right to self-determination, those that do not want blood to be spilled by the same criminal politician. And I know Joe Biden, the American president, has the energy, the power, the zeal to do so, because he actually said this during the United Nations Assembly last year. Let's listen to him first.
Perhaps singular among this body's achievements stands the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is the standard by which our forebears challenged us to measure ourselves. They made clear in 1948, human rights are the basis for all that we seek to achieve. And yet today in 2022, fundamental freedoms are at risk in every part of our world, from the violations in Xinjiang, detailed recent reports by the Office of UN High Commissioner, to the horrible abuses against pro-democracy activists and ethnic minorities by the military regime in Burma, to the increased repression of women and girls by the Taliban in Afghanistan. And today, we stand with the brave citizens and the brave women of Iran who right now are demonstrating to secure their basic rights. But here's what I know. The future will be won by those countries that unleash the full potential of their populations, where women and girls can exercise equal rights, including basic reproductive rights, and contribute fully to building a stronger economies and more resilient societies, where religious and ethnic minorities can live their lives without harassment and contribute to the fabric of their communities, where the LGBTQ plus individuals live and love freely without being targeted with violence, where citizens can question and criticize their leaders without fear.
Can we question and criticize our leader in Nigeria? I don't think that can happen. So part of that is the reason why we are saying to the President of the United States of America that rather than looking into the election and then it leads to violence and anarchy, maybe we should prepare for a dialogue between the indigenous people that are asking for their right out of Nigeria, just as we know that your freedom is not just for those in the West. We believe the freedom is also for those ethnic indigenous people that are asking for their right. And just as we complete that, we go straight and finish with Bill Clinton and we continue with the conversation. This is a live transmission and my name is Olami Koiki. It's just 7 minutes past 1900 hours as we continue into the program one more time.
The United States will always promote human rights and the values enshrined in the UN Charter in our own country and around the world.
continue with the next conversation. So again, let me quickly rewind this and let's listen to the former American president in 2015 saying clearly there is no evidence that the American government says Nigeria was going to break in 2015. Maybe to break in 2023, we don't know yet, based on their own views. But what the indigenous people are saying is they are now tired of being part of this creation known as Nigeria.
No one in the U.S. government ever predicted that Nigeria would break up in 2015. I've gone back, I checked, no one ever said it. So let's just take the silly notion that my government predicted the breakup of Nigeria, and let's just throw it out the window. Here we are together in Nigeria in 2015. Do any of you think Nigeria is about to break up? I don't. I see a country that, yes, has many challenges. What country doesn't, including my country? But I see a country that, if it can address these challenges in the coming years, will only become stronger, more unified, and is marching towards a bright future with the United States at its shoulder.
Well, and I'm not sure there has been any evidence in 8 years of this failed shithole country that has kept our people in abject poverty, that have destroyed the Biafra land, that has killed as many people, imprisoned so many people, including the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra today, also almost assassinated and killed the leader and also, the self-determination movement that he wanted to destroy by killing Dr. Oloye Sunday Igboho, just as Nnamdi Kanu. As we continue to say, we have the right to self-determination. We also have the right to defend ourselves. Let's go back to the slide one more time. Again, while the official position of the British government in 1967, 68, 69, Nigba Civil War, was that it is its main interest in the Nigerian conflict was to prevent the breakup of the country along tribal lines. The true position was more complex. Evidence in this paper suggests that British oil interests play a much more important role in the determination of the British attitude to the war in Ogun Toja than is usually considered. Britain ò fẹ́ jẹ́ kí wọ́n pín níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn because of their own interest, and wọ́n ò dẹ̀ fẹ́ jẹ́ kí gbogbo tribes àwa Yorùbá olúkálùkù lọ lọ́tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀. Specifically, Britain was interested in protecting the investment of Shell and BP in Nigerian oil. Furthermore, Britain was also at the time desperate to keep Nigerian oil flowing in order to mitigate the impact of its domestic oil shortfall caused by the Middle East Six-Day War. Wọ́n jagun kan níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn ní 1967 náà ní Middle East. Supporting a one Nigerian solution was considered by Britain safest bet in order to achieve the objectives. Let's go into it furthermore. Once again, this is a live transmission. Ní January 1970, the ideal of an independent Biafra state was crushed when the military forces of the federal government of Nigeria overrun the rebel territories, culminating in the unconditional surrender of the remnant of the Biafran leadership. This surrender effectively brought to an end 30 months of military conflict, which arose in the context of establishing whether the oil-rich eastern region of the country should stay within Nigeria state. Not surprisingly, the event has continued to attract widespread attention for some time now. Activists from both sides of the conflict have documented their account of the war. Ìbéèrè tí mo fẹ́ kí gbogbo ẹ̀ máa fi sọ́kàn ni pé from this month, the Biafra are still saying that they want out from Nigeria. Are we going to see another civil war putting through between the Biafra and Nigeria? Also, are we going to see tension in the southwest that are also saying that we do not want the election to take place? So we should be preparing our mind. Tí in tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní 1967 that went for 30 months was because the Yoruba did not support it, so there was more time to fight and fight and fight until that war was won or partially not won, but we can say in the interest of the British government, they did not allow the Biafra to go. But this time around, we now have two major ethnic groups that are now coming together to say, whatever happened in 1967, we put that aside. But for now, we have been subjugated, we have been molested, and we have not been free in what is known as Nigeria today. And in the interest of everybody, we should all break away from Nigeria. Let's watch this again. And this says, Nigeria may break up or engage in a full-scale civil war. This is our father, our uncle, a grandfather, a senior advocate of Nigeria, an activist himself, Babawa Falano. This particular video is about 1 year ago. It is also saying that there can be a full-scale civil war. Keep Yoruba prepare for 30 months from the end of this month, because we know that whether they like it or not, from what we know by their spokesperson, Simon Ekpa, he has said it, and they have given their headlines. They've continued to say that election is not going to hold in Biafra territory. Let's listen to it.
No election, as we continue to maintain no election, no Nigeria election will be allowed in Biafra territory.
That means there will be engagement between the Biafra and the federal government. There will be a mass destabilization between the Yoruba and the election in the Southwest, when we are going to be fully out and demanding that no election is going to take place. Are we now going to see the federal government going into another scale of civil war between the Biafra, the Yoruba, or are we going to see the imminent of breakup of Nigeria without such? Is the Nigerian government going to listen to any one of these conversations? I don't think they want to do so. And you know why? Because the Yoruba politicians, the Biafran politicians, are still going ahead with that election, whether we say we don't want election or not. But also within their own political party, there will be a lot of fight. Àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá tó ń support Tinubu do not want to vote for Peter Obi because he's an Igbo man. They are not ready to vote for Atiku because he's a Fulani man. And we also know that the Igbo people that are supporting Peter Obi says, it is our turn. We have been marginalized in this country for 62 years. It will be in the interest to keep Nigeria that the next president becomes from that particular region. Even the North hate the Igbo, and likewise the Yoruba disagree. And that is why yesterday, Tinubu boys, all his thugs, started attacking Peter Obi. Atiku is also saying that it is our turn. We have not done and completed our tenure. The war to febele in Nigeria is going to last more than 30 months, and everybody should go and buckle up, because if the Biafra say there's not going to be election, there will be confrontation. If the Yoruba say there will be no election, there will be confrontation. Between the three political parties, there will be confrontation. We now have 5 different people that are coming out with different reasons why Nigeria should continue or why Nigeria should not be continuing. Or are we now at that imminent stage? Is Nigeria going to survive this month? It is something that I want you to look into. Once more, if anybody has told you, just as Mrs. Onitiri have said that they've got a country, my name is Olami Koiki. A country is not yet been established. We are still in Nigeria. We are still a citizen of Nigeria until either we break away peacefully, or when the war breaks up, it will then divide everybody. In 2023,
it is a task that must be done by every Biafran. For this reason, you must save the following date. These dates are going to be very, very significant dates. Very, very important dates. Save the following date. The 23rd of February 2023. The 24th of February 2023, the 25th of February 2023, the 26th of February 2023, the 27th of February 2023 and the 28th day of February 2023. Save this date in your calendars and wait for further instruction as to what to do with those dates.
Well, it is not the Biafra that wants to go in a civil war with the federal government. We know because already Babawa Falana said that the imminent that Nigeria will go into a civil war was said in this interview he granted on Sahara Reporter a year ago. You are watching a live transmission. We now have 5 different groups of people. 2 of them, or we have 6 rather, because we also have the middle belt that are also campaigning to divide away from Nigeria. We have the Yoruba, we have the Biafra, we have the PDP, we have the Labour Party, we have the APC. 6 different agenda in a country that has 206 million. The last war in Nigeria lasted for 30 months. Should there be a civil war this time around? Maybe because the world is now much more exposed. Maybe because nobody is going to support the agenda of one Nigeria from the West, and they will have no other option because of humanitarian catastrophe. Because already the world itself is going through pressure. There's a current war going on, and maybe you don't know. Ogun tó ń lọ ní Ukraine and Russia, also to extend the duty tẹ́lẹ̀ lọ, it is now into a bigger stage. We are now having more weapons given to the Ukraine government to defend themselves and their territory. And Russia continue to go penetrating more. And we now also have the Democratic Republic of Congo, and there's an ongoing crisis going on there. Ethiopia, there's an ongoing crisis going on there. And also, we pray for everybody affected in Turkey. The world itself is going through a movement, and that movement means that February 14, Valentine's Day, is always a blood, and that is why gbogbo Yoruba ẹ má lọ dìbò. Don't get caught up. You are better to sit in your house, or those of you at the appropriate time come out in million and we block everywhere so that we do not give room for any election in Yoruba land. But we will wait for further instruction. Àwọn tó dúró fún further instruction, some of them now are in panty, and we pray that we can get them out as quickly as possible. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Gbẹ̀du àtàwọn tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ láti gbà wọ́n sílẹ̀. Even though they might be working with the Òmìnira, which we are not part of anyway. And I say it clearly because we are not running the same agenda. My name is Olami Koiki, and I challenge them to a debate. I think that country. So all these people that are moving around that you're excited, you can be sitting on the Zoom and be having conversation. All that is just you are creating awareness. There's nothing wrong in that. But tó bá sọ fún pé ti gbàlú, tó bá bí wọ́dà ìwọ lọ síwájú government officer, kò sọ pé àti gba country, ó dẹ̀ ní kúrò níwájú bẹ̀. Kódà àwọn tó wà ní pàǹtí nísìn, kódà àwọn lọ́mọ tó ń face lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́, ẹni tí kò rí ẹni tó rí bí kíní kan náà bá máa ń pàwé kan pé ẹni tó rí bí tí Ṣàngó ti wọlẹ̀, wàá mọ̀ pé nǹkan bẹ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Because ẹni ẹ ti gba country, ẹ̀dẹ̀ lọ síwájú government house, wọ́n fi igi lẹ́yìn. That shows that ó kúkú bẹ́tà ká jáde ní protest. Tọ́ba lagi mọ́ wa káà náà lagi mọ́ wa padà, because a ní right láti fi defend ara wa. But since tẹ́ ẹ̀ fẹ́ dúró de bàbá wa olóyè Sunday Igboho, since tẹ́ ti ń fẹ́nu àbùkù kọ bàbá wa Akíntóyè, tẹ́níwọ̀ mọ́ṣẹ́ àti àwọn YSDM, gbogbo account tí ó wà authentic lẹ́ni kò ń ṣe Òmìnira account. Account kan tọ́mọ Yorùbá tó wà authentic òun ni central account. My name is Olami Koiki. Once again, Mrs. Modupe Onitiri has not got a country for you. She's just doing what we can call awareness. And I put her on a test of challenge. Any platform, any day, anytime, without even any short notice, I'll be ready to have a conversation with her to prove that she has not got a country yet. She's just doing what we call a mirage, illusion. And that is also bringing a lot of problem to the Yoruba people. Ṣẹ̀wálẹ̀ ìtẹ̀ wà nílé, tó bá bí ẹ̀dá ni mo sọ, lọ sí local government ẹ lọ́la, kó sọ pé ẹ ti gba country, pàǹtí ló máa sùn sí, tílẹ̀ máa fi mọ́. Ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ gbọ́n tí bàbá wa Fálànà sọ ní bíbá. Kò ń ṣe àwọn ọmọ Igbo, àwọn ọmọ Biafra ló fẹ́ bá government ìjà, but already there's an imminent to break up and a civil war in Nigeria.
In view of the worsening insecurity in the country, in no state of the Federation of Abuja, it is feared that the country may break up or engage in a full-scale war. And only
Okay, ẹ̀gbọ́n kan tó sọ níbí báyìí ẹ̀gbọ́n kan tí bàbá wa sọ maybe tẹ́ ẹ̀gbọ́n dáadáa kò ń ṣe àwọn ọmọ Ìgbò ló ń pe ogun fúnra rẹ̀ ti wà nínú Nàìjíríà ó wá pọ̀ ẹni tó fẹ́ yọ rẹ̀ kúrò àwádẹ́ náà fẹ́ ja ogun àmọ́ with 1 million of us lójú títì we can stop that kind of war in Yoruba land. We don't know how the Igbo or the Biafra wants to engage the federal government. They have told their people to sit at home within those days. If you come out in Biafra land in those days, that means you might probably be getting involved to support either the Nigerian government by trying to, go and verify election, or supporting the Biafra to support them to make sure that no election takes place. 3 people are now asking against 3 people. OTD 3 by 3. When you divide 6 by 2, it gives you 3 by 3. When you plus 3 by 3, it gives you 6. 3 political parties, 3 indigenous people wants to exit the contraction. There is now imminent to civil war in Nigeria, and the only thing that can stop it is if the United Nations, the European Union, the African Union can quickly get into the situation room and start thinking that those that are saying that there will be civil war is not the Biafra, it's not the Yoruba people. He's talking about civil war, and this imminent of that, because this month there will be a lot woto that is already pro-max that is going to be activated. The federal government do not have the might to take all the indigenous people. The federal government do not have the might to even take down the Boko Haram and the ISIS that have been destroying and killing indigenous people. I don't see how the federal government has the mechanism to take down Nigeria. The only thing they're going to do is to bring out a coup and then use that coup to suppress everybody, but we will not admit and accept such a coup in Nigeria. If there's any coup in Nigeria, it will be woto between the federal government and the indigenous people. This is not 1983 when Buhari overthrown the government of Shagari. This is 2023. You will not use any gimmick again, whether those of you in the military hierarchy. We are telling you now, don't try that nonsense. We are the indigenous people. We will make sure that you will not penetrate the southwest, and I'm sure the Biafra will do the same thing. If there is a declaration tonight of the military taking over, Nigeria will go in flame, and there's no doubt about that in my mind. But also, let's listen to what Babawa Falano says. Again, the title says, for those of you, maybe this video might be there, or you might not see it, but to reference that video is on Sahara Reporter, and the headline says, Nigeria may break up, or not just break up, or engage in a full-scale civil war. Security
in the country. In all states of the Malaysian Abuja, it is feared that the country may break up or engage in a full-scale war. And only Labour and other progressive forces can stop this dangerous trend that we're witnessing in our country. A retired general who once warned that no nation survived 2 civil wars has now called on Nigerians to rise up and defend themselves on the ground that the armed forces and the police have compromised the security of the nation. This particular general, if you must know, was the chief of army staff when in the 70s, under Obasanjo, you had Uge riots, Oshodi riots.
Every one of us are just killing. The armed forces are not neutral. They collude. They collude. They collude with the armed bandits. They kill people, kill Nigerians. They facilitate their movements. They cover them. If you are depending on the armed forces to stop the killings, you will all die one by one.
You had Uge riots, Oshodi riots, Fela South Bond, and these guys were just killing. And while he was Minister of Defense under Obasanjo, you had OD invasion in Bayelsa, Zakidia in Benue State, and of course, his own role in the Junkun, thief war, between Taraba and Benue State. The failure of the regime to control the violent attacks on farmers and destruction of farms by a group bearing AK-47 rifles, operating as elders, and lopsided appointment by the Buhari regime have fueled the separatist agenda of several groups in the country. In spite of the program of his own party, that is the APC, for restructuring or power devolution from the center to the other federating unit, President Buhari has sworn arrogantly to defend the status quo. We fought the civil war. We're not going to allow anybody to break up the country, but the country is breaking on their heads. A regime that had negotiated and granted amnesty.
And you heard him very well. President Muhammadu Buhari is living in a different world entirely, dead or alive. The country is breaking up. And the imminent of breaking up is right now. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́tí wọlé lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí, mo kí gbogbo yín bẹ́ẹ̀ mo lọ sórí ìyá tó bí mi lọ́mọ. Ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin ìyá lálùbáríkà yín bàbá wa. And all our silent listeners. Ẹ wojú tèmi dáadáa. I am not an illiterate man. And if I was an illiterate, I was trained by a mother that have traveled around the world. And she knows, at least in the country, she was in South Korea in the 70s, even before I was born in 1978. If we have been told that you've got a country, I will not be in that mirage. And I've given them, from today, a challenge for a debate, whether you have a country or not. But what wà nílé tó ń ṣorí kunkun pẹ̀lú MTN àti Glo tó ṣiṣẹ́ dáadáa tó rán manage pẹ̀lú ebi tó ń pa ẹ́ tá ń sọ pé tá bá pín tó ń sọ pé àwa tí à ń sọ pé àìtí gba country pé àwa làmú tá ń sọ tó bá bí ìwọ da ìwọ lọ dúró síwájú local government ẹ lọ́la kó sọ pé ó ti gba country, whether in Ogun State, whether in Kwara, in Osun, in Ekiti, whether in Ondo State, whether in Lagos State, whether in Kogi State, wàá mọ̀ pé ayé ò pé méjì, because à ń sọ fún yín ẹ̀nà ẹ̀fẹ̀ gbọ́ àbí àwọn tó ti lọ sí pàǹtí wọ́n ránṣẹ́ sí mi nísìn tó ní kí wọ́n máa bẹ̀ mí pé ká jọ̀ọ́ ká gbà wọ́n sílẹ̀. Àwọn tó wà ní pàǹtí ni mò ń sọ fún yín o, wọ́n ránṣẹ́ tó bá wá sọ pé wọ́n ti kọ lẹ́tà sí UN, ẹ máa sọ fún wọn pé bàbá wa Ìbà Gani Adams gan kọ lẹ́tà sí UN. Ìwọ náà lè kọ lẹ́tà sí UN. All you need is just the official address. You can write it through the email. Ìyẹn ló easy jù. Writing a letter to UN is not going to release those that have been taken away last week Sunday. Ẹ ṣe sùúrù ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà nílé, bára ṣe ń kan yín lára ń kọ àwọn náà. Tẹ́ bá sọ pé àwa tá a mọ̀ ṣe tí ẹ̀ ń dúró kí Black Lion kó máa fún yín ní gbogbo fàbú tó fún yín yẹn pé ẹ ti gba country, ẹ jẹ́ bàbá igba. Àbí ẹ̀gbọ́n tí mo sọ, ẹ jẹ́ mo yóò yà. Mo sọ pé àwọn tí wọ́n wà ní pàǹtí, kódà ọmọ kan wà nú wọn. Nígbà tí ìyàwó ẹ̀ pè mí, mo tún béèrè pé ṣóṣù àpò òun ni, nígbà tó verify pé òun ni. I pity a lot of you tẹ́ wà nílé. Ẹ̀yin mọ̀ bó ṣe ń comment àbí ìyẹn nǹkan mi tó bá wù ní kẹ́ sọ, but tí mo lè sọ fún yín ni pé o ò tí kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà o. Gbọ́ mi dáadáa, má lọ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ gbé, má lọ sáré ju bó ṣe yẹ lọ. O ò tí kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà. Ṣoré èmi àtàwọn diaspora bọ́lẹ̀ kájà tèmi àtàwọn yẹn sílẹ̀. Wọ́n ní èmi ò ìyá kan tẹ̀ sọ pé ó ní èmi ò níṣẹ́, mo rí mẹ́sẹ̀jì ẹ̀. Ó ní ẹ lọ wáṣẹ́, ẹyẹ gbowó birthday, ẹyẹ gbowó CSI. Ẹ ṣe gbé àwọn ọmọ tí ń jáde bíi tèmi náà tó ń fojú fún wọn gbogbo nǹkan tó ń lọ lágbàáyé. Èmi ti ju gbogbo yín lọ, ẹ̀yin bọ́lẹ̀ kájà diaspora. Tẹ́ ń sọ fún àwọn tó wà nílé pẹ́ dígbà country. Ẹ jókòó sínú Zoom, ẹ ń jáfẹ́fẹ́. Kí lẹ rò pé ẹ̀ ń ṣe náà? Ẹ̀yin náà ti gba country, wàláì. Àwọn mẹ́wàá tó kó lọ, wọ́n wà ń pàǹtí báyìí nísìn. Bọ́gbẹ̀dú tí ń ṣiṣẹ́, wọ́n ṣe máa gbà wọ́n sílẹ̀. A sọ pé bí gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì ṣe mú wọn yẹn, ó dùn mọ́ wọn nú, èmi ti sọ yẹn tẹ́lẹ̀. Bọ̀ lára àwọn tí wọ́n gbọ́nran náà nìyẹn. Èyí tó bá dẹ̀ ti gbọ́nran nù yín, tó bá bí ẹ̀dá lọ́la, wọ́n jáde síwájú local government ẹ̀ kò sọ pé o ti gba country, pé Mrs. Modupe Onítìrì sọ pé ẹ ti gba country. Wàá jẹ mo yóò yà ni mo sọ fún ẹ. Let's continue pẹ̀lú bàbá Fálànà. Àwa kọ́ la fẹ́ dọ́gun sílẹ̀. Buhari fúnra rẹ̀ ti gbógun wọ Nàìjíríà. Buhari fúnra rẹ̀ ti sọ Nàìjíríà di war zone by bringing all the terrorists from around the world. My name is Olayomi Koiki lèmi jẹ́. èmi ò ń ṣẹni tébi ń pa mo sọ fún yín bàbá tèmi òbí sì wà láyé bẹ́ẹ̀ bá mọ ẹni tó ń pè ní Ebenezer òbí ẹ lọ béèrè bàbá tèmi abẹ́ ló jẹ MKO Abiola ó wá sílé wa dáadáa tí bàbá tèmi sì wà nínú yàrá tó ń sùn tó ti jáde èmi ni mo fi gbogbo ẹnu sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹni mo parọ́ ẹ̀ kẹ́ lọ ṣe confirmation ẹ̀ the late chief MKO Abiola àbúrò tó tẹ̀lé mi MKO lòun náà ń jẹ́ kódà wọ́n ti parí kó mọ́ nígbà tí MKO máa dé kó tó tún fún lórúkọ tiẹ̀ tó fi ń jẹ́ Kọ́láwọlé títí dé ni so ẹ má wá sí bíbà ẹ kẹ́ wá sọ pé mi ò níṣẹ́ ẹ lè má sọ ẹ fáwọn ẹlòmíì o bọ bí dákẹ́ wá sí bíbà ẹ kẹ́ má sọ fún mi pé mi ò níṣẹ́ iṣẹ́ tèmi ń ṣe òun fífi bá ti Nàìjíríà jẹ gorilla warfare lèmi ń jà lọ́wọ́ pẹ̀lú Nigerian government sórí ìwọ tó wà nílé tó ń béèrè pé kí ni way forward wẹ́dà tó bá máa dógun a máa prepare fún náà ni tó bá dẹ̀ ní dógun náà a máa jáde ní protest ni àwa la máa lock Nigerian government dead or alive Buhari but ogun ti wà nínú ilé already ẹja gbọ́n tí bàbá wa sọ tẹ́lẹ̀ tó.
Terrorists and bandits in the recent past has rejected the call for dialogue with all separatist bodies. The latest was that the president, like his predecessor, General Lucas Obasanjo, ordered that all bandits, headers should be shot on sight illegally, because there is a provision of our law dealing with illegal possession of firearms, murder and others. We have to arrest criminal elements and put them on trial. No president has the power to order criminal suspects to be extrajudicially executed. But that was meant to give the impression that the regime has now decided to put an end to this form of criminality. It is our submission that several decades of legacy of misrule and bad governance, corruption and diversion of the Commonwealth, and anti-people's policies have led to the ascendancy of insecurity in the country. No part of Nigeria is safe today, as marauders have been abducting people, including undergraduates, secondary school students, and even primary school pupils. We have found that armed bandits, armed soldiers,
even Lagos is not safe today. Lagos is not safe, and that is why so many Nigerians that are living in Yoruba land have been killed. And the evidence of such is this, our beautiful sister that was killed in Lagos State by the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Sanwo-Olu is campaigning for second term. Bí àwọn náà máa wà lára àwọn tó sì bá lọ síwájú ICC láti lọ sọ kí nìdí tí wọ́n fi pa this beautiful young girl inside Lagos State today, just as so many of them are also being killed. Let me bring that quickly for those that are watching us. Once again, my name is Olami Koiki. Ẹ rántí àwọn tó pa ní Lagos State. Whether you like it or not, Sanwo-Olu, prepare yourself for the case tó ń bọ̀ lórí ẹ̀. Ó máa dé International Criminal Court. Sórí pa ti mú kíní sílẹ̀ sí bíbà, Ike Ikeremadu, ìyẹn lọ anywhere mọ́. Ike Ikeremadu, ìyẹn ti wà pẹ̀lú wa ní bíbà, kò lè síbi kankan tó ń lọ. And that is the voice of Bamishe that was killed in Lagos last year, February. And that is exactly how Lagos is not safe. And this is what Baba Wafala and Sonny Biba. So it's not just the Fulani terrorists, we also have the government that is killing the citizens. Just like Jumoke Oyeleke was killed, just like Dr. Chilelo was killed, just like so many Biafrans are inside the underground right now. But you might think you are free or you are safe and you are moving around as a governor, a politician. Remember that this man is still here in UK. We are not even giving him a bail because we are not sure he might want to stay because he will run away. So gbogbo ẹ̀yin politicians tẹ́ ń lo agbára lẹ́nu, ẹ túbọ̀ máa lo agbára yẹn. It's just a matter of time. We will catch up with you and you'll be dealt with, whether you know that or not. But one thing is, those of us that are still saying that there will be one Nigeria under what constitution? Let's go back again.
Terrorists, armed militias, armed forces, armed robbers and armed kidnappers lay siege to the country, exercising varying degrees of suzerainty over large swaths of the territory of the country. The state is incapable of ending kidnapping or rescuing abducted citizens and foreigners. In the circumstance, ransom is paid by family members and friends to secure the release of victims of abductions from captivity. Just yesterday, the governor of Niger State and NPC warned the people in Abuja, people in the village, and these boys are coming because they are just a few kilometers away from Abuja, and that they are hoisting the flag of Boko Haram. Nobody.
Did you hear that? They are hoisting the flag of Boko Haram right inside Nigeria.
Has denied such,
And nobody has denied that. So the civil war is already coming very soon. Nigeria is at the imminent. We still have so many videos, and let's go now to our own father.
So thank the Almighty God for a day like this, and I want to thank the organizers for asking.
And we do not own the copyright of this as well.
Pray for you and pray for Nigeria. But when they told me that I will be ministering for about 10 minutes, I said, if I pray for 10 minutes, by the time I finish praying, I hope those who are listening to me will not be falling asleep. So I believe that what they actually meant is that probably I will share a few thoughts with you before I pray. I'm sure you all know that I'm not a politician. I don't belong to any political party. I've never been governor, or neither do I ever hope to be. As a matter of fact, each time I travel throughout the world and I have the opportunity of visiting heads of states, I always come out of there thanking God that I'm a pastor. Because when you consider all the protocols, all the security checks, you can only come to the conclusion that it's easier to see Jesus Christ than to see some of our heads. But before I became a pastor, I was a mathematician, an applied mathematician. And mathematicians they practically live their lives solving problems. You see, when we begin to talk about Nigeria, so in the year 2060, the first question that a mathematician will want to ask is, one, are we sure there will be Nigeria in the year 2060? In other words, you're talking about something that you are not 100% sure will be there at the time you are talking about it. You see, because before we can begin to discuss Nigeria of 2060, we need to address the problems that we have right now, that if these problems are not solved, then this will be just an academic exercise.
And the problems as a lot, as our Baba is saying there, let's pause it there. What are the problems? Are those problems going to be resolved in 8 years? Ṣé a lè solve gbogbo problem yẹn tí Tinubu bá débẹ̀? Ṣé a lè solve problem yẹn tí Atiku bá débẹ̀? Ṣé problem yẹn lè wà solve tí Peter Obi bá débẹ̀? Ṣé problem yẹn máa wà solve if they are there for 4 years plus another 4 years? Because we know that this problem has been there since 1962 or 1960 rather. But one thing is, everybody knows the problem, but nobody wants to talk about those problems. And those problems cannot be solved. Let me back it up with Chief Tola Adeniyi quickly before we go back to Baba Gio Adeboye.
They drink, they fornicate, they do all the things that all human beings do. So it's not a question of religion.
There's no question of anybody being truly a Muslim there. You know, even I knew a chief judge who was supposed to be leading Muslim prayers, who, anytime he came to me in my official residence, would put a brandy or whiskey in a mug and be drinking, and they would smoke and all that. So I don't think it's religion. When they started this Sharia, how many of them are obeying the Sharia? How many of them? No, not none of their leaders. So it's not religion per se, but they use religion to deceive people.
So you hear that? Let's hold on to that. Thank you so much. Yes, if you are not aware of, Elo Science say Ijangbara Radio. Ijangbara Radio is where you can listen to live program transmission. It's not yet on iOS, but they're working on it. It's on Android. Also remember to subscribe and also pay your dues, just as you pay your dues in the church, just as you pay your dues in the mosque. Donate to the central account, the only authentic Yoruba account. If they're telling you about the Ominira account, nobody knows anything about that. And one thing is, gbogbo àwọn tí ó bá náwọn fẹ́ dáwó sí Yoruba central account, that's fine. Nobody is forcing you. But one thing is, ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ti dá tẹ́lẹ̀, tẹ́ wá béèrè pé bó lọ fowó sí, gbogbo owó yẹn wọ́n ti lò síbi tó yẹ kó lò sí. Just àti wọn náà bá sanwó sí BBC àbí Fox News àbí àwọn charity, wọ́n ti máa ń lò síbi tó yẹ kó lò sí. So tẹ́ bá ṣe ń bínú pé ẹ fẹ́ gbowó yín padà, ìrọ̀lẹ́ pa owó yẹn ò ṣe gbà padà. It has been used and it has been used properly. So ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ ti dá owó àjọ ẹ̀dá àjọ yín sí central account. Let's come quickly back to Baba wa. We've actually listened to this. We can take this off. Let's go back to this. Our father Gio Adeboye. And again, in case this video is not there, you come across this particular section of the program. This is on channels 2 years ago. We must restructure Nigeria soon to avoid breakup. Ṣẹ́ni pé mi nìkan kọ́ ni mo ń sọ̀rọ̀ breakup. Àwọn tó jẹ́ èèyàn gbòógì gan ti sọ breakup. But a mọ̀ pé Kùkùté sọ pé kò lè breakup. À ń bọ̀ lọ́dọ̀ òun. Ìyẹn máa ń yí ṣẹ́rí. Pastor Ruga Olè. Ẹ̀rọ ojú ẹ̀ bó ṣe rí. Òun ní pé Nàìjíríà gbọ́dọ̀ break. But we come back to that. Like I said, ẹ jẹ́ ká máa bá lọ ní díẹ̀. It's just almost about 8 o'clock. And we are just literally 2 hours to the program, so we are still very good. I'm pushing as much, and I'm not wasting too much time, and that's why we're not greeting anybody. It's a very, very serious program. Yoruba Nation ṣe drama kan ṣe ní gbogbo àwọn platform tí wọ́n yẹn. Yoruba Nation ṣe illusion pé a ti gba country. Tí gba country, ẹni tó bá fẹ́ lọ Nàìjíríà má lọ dán wò pé òun lọ sí Yoruba Nation. Kó má jẹ́ pé ibẹ̀ ni wọ́n máa gbé lọ sí Àbújá kàtúmọ̀ máa wá bá ṣe fẹ́ gbẹ̀ sílẹ̀. Ó bẹ́tà kí ìlú kó dàrú, kó má rojúgbó, ká mọ̀ pé a ti ń lọ sí inú country tiwa. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ pé kí ni way forward náà ni èyí tí bàbá Adébóyè sọ fún yìí. Nàìjíríà máa break up.
I think very refreshing.
Ẹ má bínú, the audio is very low, but I'm going to mute my own mic.
One of the occasions when I was on a long flight from London to Singapore, a journey of about 13 hours or something. After you've eaten and you slept and you woke up and then discover you still have some 7 hours to go, definitely you have time to fool around a little bit. And then I was thinking about Nigeria, and I have these thoughts within myself, which I think I will just share with you. By the time I finish sharing it, you are likely to consider it a joke from a mathematician, because after all, mathematicians can be eccentric at times. I just felt that why can't we have a system of government that is 100% Nigeria? Unique to us.
Okay, Baba, lè nínú that system here, because the reason why is kì í ṣe kankan náà. Ẹ bá a máa sọ fún gbogbo àwọn ọmọ ọjọ́ yín pé Nàìjíríà Ọlọ́run kọ́ ló dá, Ọlọ́run kọ́ ló kó Nàìjíríà together. Òyìnbó aláwọ̀ funfun tí a mọ̀ sí Great Britain pẹ̀lú Lugard tó jẹ́ ẹni tó ń bá wọn ṣiṣẹ́ tó jẹ́ governor administrator níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn. So pé Nàìjíríà máa ṣiṣẹ́ yẹn bàbá, Nàìjíríà ò lè ṣiṣẹ́. Ṣé máa ká waste too much energy? A ti lo energy 62 years lórí Nàìjíríà. A ti pray fún Nàìjíríà. Níbi tí ọ̀rọ̀ Nàìjíríà dé nísìnyí, ó ti gba pé kólúkálukú máa lọ. Nigeria is at the imminent of breakup. Ẹni tó bá dẹ̀ mọ̀ kí ni meaning imminent, ẹ kọ́kọ́ lọ dáwó lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí ẹ support Ìjàngbara Radio. Imminent, òun ni tó bá sọ pé nǹkan wà imminent. Let's quickly look at the English dictionary of imminent. Imminent is something Again,
imminent.
One more time,
Imminent.
One more time,
Imminent.
About to happen. There were imminent danger. Àti wà nínú danger. Àwa ń bẹ Elédùmarè pé danger tá wà nínú ẹ̀ a gbọ́dọ̀ sùn àsùnpara. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ pé kí ni way forward. Danger ẹni pé danger tó ń bọ̀ yìí. Bí a ṣe ń sọ pé Elédùmarè nìkan kọ́ nítorí pé àwa ènìyàn náà máa pariwo, a máa sọ̀rọ̀, a máa sọ fún àgbáyé pé danger Nàìjíríà ó ti fẹ́ jábọ́lé gbogbo wa lórí báyìí. Kò dẹ̀ ní jábọ́lé wọ lórí, kò ní jábọ́lé mi lórí. But lọ́wọ́ yìí tó ń sọ pé o ti gba country, má jẹ́ kí danger yẹn kó mú ẹ. Torí pé danger ti mú àwọn kan lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí nísìnyí tó wà ní pàǹtí láti last week. Ìlú tó gbà ò rí wọn gbà sílẹ̀. So gbogbo yẹn eré ọmọdé ni, àwàdà ni. Èmi ni mo sọ bẹ́ẹ̀, koikimedia. There is no country yet, but we are working towards the imminent danger. Pé a fẹ́ kúrò nínú country tí a ti wà in danger. So ọ̀rọ̀ tí bàbá yẹn sọ pọ̀. But I'm just going to take maybe another 1 minute, and then tó bá fẹ́ wo program yìí ẹ lọ sórí channels ẹ lọ gbọ́ díẹ̀ sí, because we have to move quickly to the next slide.
We started off with the British system of government. Somewhere along the line, we moved over to the American system of government. And I was just wondering, can't we have a combination of both and see whether...
Okay, when they say we should have combination of both, what they've not also tell us, Baba Oraye sọ̀rọ̀ nípa 1999 constitution. Ṣé constitution yẹn náà la máa lò àbí a máa fa constitution yẹn ya àwa lo constitution míì? Because everybody knows that the 1999 fraudulent constitution that was put together, a military decree, is not going to help and solve gbogbo tí bàbá wa yìí sọ. Even if it's a great idea, the constitution that we have in the present day Nigeria, this 1999 constitution, there is no way it's going to work. So we don't want to waste too much energy on that. So we're going to leave Baba alone. Also, attempt to break up Nigeria, not productive. This is again 5 years ago by another US embassy representative. 5 years ago, America ṣì ń sọ pé the breakup of Nigeria is not productive. So tí wá wà productive nísìnyí, we don't know the views of the American government. But ẹ jẹ́ ká gbọ́ ìtarakùnrin sọ again, ẹni tó bá dé stage yìí, tẹ́ bá gbọ́ tó yá pé fídíò yẹn wọ́n ti yọ, I don't know, sometimes they leave it, sometimes they might ask us to mute that section. Ẹ lọ sórí channels, ẹ type in attempt to break up Nigeria, not productive, US Embassy. Let's listen to it.
Well, again, I think that, we won't take particular sides on particular, proposals, but I must say it comes back to us to unity. We believe that attempts to break away or break up Nigeria are not productive, that this country's strength is in unity, and again, as a vibrant democracy where the country pulls together.
Again, these are all the lies. Ẹ lè má gbọ́ ìbò tó ń sọ pé mi ti àwa ti bá wọn pé sometimes àdàgbà tí wọ́n fi àwọn sọ̀rọ̀. Màá play lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí, màá play lẹ́ẹ̀kejì sí, màá wá analysis lé lórí. When they say something is not productive, ṣé Nàìjíríà wà productive tẹ́lẹ̀ ni? Ṣé Nàìjíríà wà productive? Tó bá wà productive, náwó ẹ̀ sókè níbi tó ti ń gbọ́ mi. Ṣé Nàìjíríà wà productive ni àwa ṣì ń pariwo pé a fẹ́ pín? Scotland gan tó wà productive wọn náà fẹ́ lọ. So when this kind of conversation comes on air, bẹ́ẹ̀ làwọn tó máa ń wo Nigerian channels lọ́ máa ṣe ń sọ pé Koiki nonsense ló ń sọ. Mo tẹ̀rí woman kan nígbà tí mo post àwọn ẹ̀mọ̀ I've been posting some of my short videos. Only you can't stay in London and be shouting break up of it. Mo wá lọ profile Lagos State. Mo wá wo gbogbo ẹ̀ ní àwọn olóòórùn. So lè understand ó ra data bí i 2,000 naira tó tún mama tó tẹ́ pé tó bó ṣe wo kíní ẹ̀ tán nísìnyí ó máa pa. Tẹ bá pẹ́ nìyẹn báyìí nísìnyí ní gẹ́tẹ̀ because ó ti pa data yẹn. Àwọn ọ̀dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé tó bá tan data yẹn gbogbo mẹ́sẹ̀gì tó ń re tó ti rí akọ̀ gbúrúgbúrúgbúrúgbúrú àdàwà. So why are you offering the data? So you can see why we cannot engage with some of you because your IQ ó lò gan. Àwa tá à ń gbé níta àwa ń sọ fún yín pé máà tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí kò lè bẹ́ẹ̀ mi sọ pé Nàìjíríà wà productive because ìwọ ní okay lọ try láti gba American visa nísìn wàá máa ní ìwọ náà tún fẹ́ sá lọ ṣẹjá gbọ́n kan tó sọ lẹ́ǹkan sí.
Well, again, I think that we won't take particular sides.
Well, òun think ni but you cannot think on behalf of the indigenous people. They think on behalf of the indigenous people because the indigenous people gangan ló ní territory yẹn kò ń ṣe Nàìjíríà. But again, òun think ni, don't think. This is 5 years ago. Again, 5 years, a lot of things have happened. The imminent breakup of Nigeria is now in our eyes, and we should all prepare for maybe not 30 months like the civil war tó ṣẹlẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀, because ayé ti wà much more connected. Tó bá wọn Nigerian government kó disconnect gbogbo internet, that will not mean that we will not know what is going on in Nigeria. But one thing is, even if the civil war goes into Nigeria right now, kò lè last 30 months, because the humanity part of it, àti pọ̀jù 1967 lọ, kí ni population wa ní 1967 àti nísìn? Nigeria is at the imminent stage of breaking up.
Particular, proposals, but I must say it comes back to us to unity. We believe that.
No, don't believe anything. Ìwọ kọ́ ló máa bá wa believe. There is no unity in Nigeria, and there can never be unity. If anybody is looking for unity, you are wasting your time. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, Nigeria is not productive. So tí àwọn òyìnbó ìbá wa ń sọ̀rọ̀ lórí TV tó ń sọ fún yín pé Nigeria, attempt to break up Nigeria not productive. Ẹ sọ fún pé it is all lies. It is now imminent that Nigeria will break, and it's going to break whether people like it or not, whether some of you are happy with it, whether some of you don't happy with it. Even Tinubu, according to article that we have here, I don't believe in one Nigeria. Àmọ́ ó ti jẹun sókè ní sọ ti jẹun sílẹ̀. Pàdípàdí bó ṣe ń pàdé díẹ̀ ló ń pàdé yín ẹ̀. Tó bá wà lórí bọ́ọ̀sì ọmọ àdìmú lẹ́yìn. Cocaine pusher, drug baron. Ó ti jẹun sókè nísìnyí. Ó believe pé Nàìjíríà ní ìsìnkú gbọdọ̀ pín. Ó fẹ́ lọ ṣe tí MK Abiola ò ṣe. Ó fẹ́ lọ ṣe tí Awólọ́wọ̀ ò ṣe. Ó fẹ́ di Nigerian president, a Yoruba president. Hausa dẹ̀ sọ fún pé irọ́ ló pa, Fúlàní ló gbọ́dọ̀ kùn nísìn, which is Atiku. So the war between them is just starting. Peter Obi sọ pé àwa ló kàn, àwa ọmọ Igbo ló kàn. So everybody is now playing the ethnic card. So even Tinubu, according to this article that we have here, I don't believe in one Nigeria. Even in exile, tí wọn òkúkú mọ̀ pé òun máa padà wá sílé, òun náà máa wá di gómìnà. Tó fi ṣe 419 fáwọn bàbá Fẹ́nifẹ́re, ó gbé wọn mọ́ra. Àmì tó pa Fúnṣọ́ William, but wọ́n ní Tinubu mọ̀ nípa ẹ̀. Kó jáde kó wá sọ pé òun mọ̀ nípa ẹ̀. Àwọn bàbá Fẹ́nifẹ́re wọ́n support Tinubu, ó débẹ̀ tán ní 1999, ó di Jagarudi. Bí àṣà bàbá mi, ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Frank Bello, a lè disagree lórí pé wọ́n bú bàbá Akíntóyè, but he is very very intelligent man. Wọ́n lè máa dọ́gbọ́n wò mí báyìí nísìn, èmi náà máa ń wò wọ́n lẹ́ẹ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan, wọ́n kàn lè má comment ni, wọ́n lè wà lórí program báyìí. Jagarudi, Jagaole. Nígbà tó wà ní exile pẹ̀lú àwọn Délé Mọ̀mọ́dù, gbogbo wọn tó sá kúrò tí àtẹ̀mọ́rí ti dábàá tó ṣe yanjú yín kúrò, because these are the criminals tó fẹ́ gbé yín lọ sí Nàìjíríà. Òun ló gbé Buhari wọlé, òun ló lọ fa Buhari wá. Ó gbé Buhari dé nísìn, Buhari òun ò ní làákàyè, Buhari pàrọ̀ owó mọ́ lọ́wọ́. Wàá dẹ̀ máa sọ pé wọ́n ní accountant lélẹ̀, eléyìí ò wà intelligent. Dangote kọ́ gbogbo refinery yẹn, kí ló dé tí Tinubu náà kọ́ refinery bẹ́ẹ̀? Jagarudi olè. Ó kó gbogbo owó Èkó. Gbogbo anybody ló lè bribe bó ṣe wà yẹn. Kò sẹ́ni tó lè bribe. Ó lè bribe ẹ lọ sí Mecca, ó lè bribe ẹ lọ sí Dubai, tó bá fẹ́ UK visa, ó lè bribe ẹ lọ kó ṣáà fi support ẹ̀. Tó bá ń ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ni, irú ọ̀rẹ́ mi àtàtà, ọ̀rẹ́ mi dáadáa, a mọ̀ pé kò sọ̀pọ̀ Yorùbá nation. Balógun Èkó lè máa ń pè, èyí máa ń pè ní ṣé kinní kan ṣòdì. Ó náà ń support Tinubu. Ó náà ọmọ kan kì í ṣèdí. Ilẹ̀ kẹ̀gàn wọ́n dìbò bọ́ ìmọ̀ nísìn, because páàdì lọ fi support gbogbo yìí. Ó máa ń yàgbẹ́ sára, ó ń tọ̀ sára ni. Tó bá wà lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ báyìí ó gbọ́dọ̀, àwọn bodyguard ẹ̀ máa ń sọ pé ó máa ń rùn. Nísìn wọ́n ti caution àwọn yẹn, tó bá ṣàti yàgbẹ́ sára, ẹ ṣáà máa fi perfume sí kó máa rùn lọ. Ẹ ra the best perfume, ẹ ṣáà fi síta káwọn èèyàn máa mọ̀ pé ó ti yàgbẹ́ sára. Àgbàlagbà. Nígbà tó wà ní exile, tó ń ṣe Nàdẹ́kò, I'm sure pé àwọn tó máa destroy Nàdẹ́kò ó wà lára wọn. Because tó bá destroy Nàdẹ́kò ni, ó jẹ́ kí gbogbo àwọn bàbá tó ṣe wàhálà yẹn, ó jẹ́ lẹ́ni nísìn, ó jẹ́ kí gbogbo wọn máa ṣe kí ni, ó jẹ́ kí gbogbo wa wà nínú nation tiwa ni. Wọ́n tàn wọ́n pè wọ́n mọ́ra. Jagarudi, bó ṣe perfume tó bá ti yàgbẹ́ sára báyìí, àwọn kan ní ó ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ sọ màmá mi ní máa ṣe pé mad ó dà pé slogan ó ti dá báyìí nísàbí mad people all over the place, mad people all over the place. Olè alphabeta ó set up òun ló ní ó ní báàní bullion ban yẹn ó ṣì léwọ̀ ní o. satellite kan gbé gbogbogbogbogbò ó kàn wọnú ilé ó dẹ̀ jáde criminals all over the place eléwà náà ó ní òun ló kàn bọ̀ nígbà kan rí ní according to the Sunday Times ní April 13, 1997 ní exile ó ní I don't believe in one Nigeria àmọ́ ó ti kówó jẹ nísìn Jagarudi ó ti gba gbogbo lẹ̀ lásù ló ti gbà ló ti kọ́ TVC sí gbogbo ẹ̀ pátápátá ẹ̀rí madness ó kù díẹ̀ ni ṣẹlẹ̀ ìtẹ̀ wà nílé tára ò tí kàn yín dáadáa tára bá kàn yín dáadáa ni ẹ lọ síwájú TVC ẹ ṣe wọ́n mọ́ṣẹ́ nítorí pé owó yín náà lọ fi kọ́ àwọn kan ní ẹ má destroy nǹkan kan ẹgbẹ̀gbẹ̀tọ́ ẹ lọ́wọ́ Ukraine sí gbogbo nǹkan ló ń destroy lójoojúmọ́ tó bá yá wa tún kọ́ iṣẹ́ máa fi wà náà ni mad people all over the place let's continue ibola bala bẹ̀rẹ̀ kan ibola ìwòlà ń lò lọ ẹja gbọ́ bàbá ìpadà ó ní Nigeria cannot break o America ìyẹn náà lọ ṣe fẹ́ ẹ tẹ̀ bá wa kọ́ náà tẹ̀ bá tẹ̀ kọ́ ìbékò lẹ́fẹ́ kọ́ sí wọ́n kọ́ sí north ó ní Nigeria cannot break up ó ní because a gbọ́dọ̀ unite ṣé dandan ni ká wà unite nínú àwọn ẹranko burúkú ẹja gbọ́n tí bàbá wa sọ nísàlẹ̀ àwọn bàbá àgbàlagbà tán ti rí future ìyẹn bàbá wa Chief Tọ́lá Adéníyì ẹja gbọ́ díẹ̀ náà ọ̀rọ̀ tó sọ.
And say Hausas were not Muslims at all. So they say, well, let's give you a superior religion, we'll give you Islam. But that didn't apply to the South because we've had Muslims in Yoruba land.
So what
is going on is clash of culture
and civilization.
Our civilized. One lo Sharia ní North. One kó gbogbo owó Lagos State. Owó alcohol, owó gbogbo táwa ń lò ní Lagos State tó bá dé North wọ́n àgbà but wọ́n wá ń fi Sharia wọ́n fi hàn pray America wọ́n sọ fáwọn pé ẹ̀ka unite ẹ̀gbọ́n tí bàbá ìsọ̀lẹ̀ nǹkan sí ó ní ká lọ unite.
I must say it comes back to us to unity. We believe that attempts to break away or break up Nigeria are not productive.
How is it not productive? In a country where there's subjugation, in a country where there's nepotism, in a country where one particular tribe is dominating the country, and you are telling us that it's not productive for us to break away. How? I don't understand. Olè. Défìlà bàbá wó lọ́wọ́. Wọ́n bá tiẹ̀ jẹ́ nínú àsọ̀rọ̀ kò lè sọ̀rọ̀ bó ṣe wà yẹn mo sọ fún ní 2 years ago mo ní kó resign kò dá mi lóhùn. Orí ẹ̀ ló ń lọ lọ́nkàn yẹn nísìn. Tó bá débẹ̀ professor of law ó ṣetán ní Unilag ó gbóná yẹrùkú ó débẹ̀ nísìn báyìí ẹ̀yà gbọ́n tó sọ. Àfẹ́ gbọ́ gbogbo eléyìí.
Members of the National Assembly President, especially Senator Isa Ali,
àfẹ́ gbọ́ gbogbo kíkí tó ń kí wọn yẹn.
Honorable Abubakar, greetings from President Muhammadu Buhari.
Kò ní yé wa àti Buhari bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń fìyà jà àwọn èèyàn wa àtàwọn ọmọ Igbo àtàwọn Hausa àti gbogbo Nàìjíríà kò ní yé yín mad people all over the place. Wọ́n destroy Nàìjíríà látòkè àtẹ̀rù pé from top to bottom ni ó ti lọ láti bottom to top padà báyìí nísìn. Ìyẹn náà làwọn kan ṣe ń sọ pé àwọn ti gba country torí pé inú ìṣẹ̀tẹ̀ wà yẹn àtẹ̀sọ́ pé àwọn tó wà ní diaspora ìṣẹ́ òtẹ̀ mọ́ àwọn àmọ̀ pé bọ́lẹ̀ kájà diaspora ni wọ́n. Ṣé bọ́ ṣe gbàlú lọ́dọ̀ tí wọ́n tọ́wọ́n wà nìyẹn tó ń sùn tó ń jí wọn náà ti gba online country wọ́n sọ Yorùbá nation wọ́n sọ di àwàdà kẹ́ríkẹ́rí in 2023 àti gba country country ni tó bá bí ìwọ́dà ìwọ́ lọ síwájú local government ẹ lọ́la tó bá bí ẹ̀dá lọ sí motor park kó lọ sọ fún auxiliary pé kó jágbàjàgbà kúrò wàá mú táwọn ọmọ auxiliary máa ṣe fún ẹ. Ìgbòho dẹ̀ wà níbi tó wà yẹn nísìn ó lè control àwọn èèyàn ní gbogbo Ìbàdàn bó ṣe wà lẹ́nu. Ìwọ jáde kó lọ lórúkọ ìyá onítìrì pé ẹ ti gba nation ni o pé mọ́mí wa onítìrì ló ní pé ká ti gba nation o bọ̀wọ̀ fún wa ní document o wàá mọ tán máa forí ẹ̀ ṣe wàá forí ẹ̀ fàgbọ́n ni ìwọ lọ dárúkọ Ìgbòho kò wá mọ̀ bíá ó máa ṣe é ṣe àbí kò ní ṣe é ṣe ẹ gbà fẹ́ni tọ́lọ̀ fún mad people all over the place.
Who holds the state very dearly to his heart. Let me take this opportunity.
Ó ní Buhari hold the country very very dear to his heart. Àti rí nǹkan tó ṣe, ó náà ti gbìyànjú tòun.
To extend my sincere appreciation to His Excellency, the dynamic governor of the state.
Gbogbo eléyìí tó ń sọ ètò
great work that is being done here. I have been impressed by the can-do spirit that supporting supporting small businesses and plantations for the rapid.
ẹ jẹ́ ń lọ wù mí ó dà kí mo prepare mi kò sí eléyìí àmọ́ bí tó ti sọ níbẹ̀ so ó dà pé mo ní another backup ilé ẹja gbọ́n nǹkan tó sọ ẹgbọ́n jàgbàjàgbà tó sọ níbẹ̀ ó ní those waiting for Nigeria to break up will be disappointed kò sí bàjọ́ kódà ìwọ gan máa déwájú ICC bọ́rọ̀ ṣe ń lọ.
For the youth, don't just say it's time for the youth and older people must just give way. It's unlikely that will happen. It is the strength of your idea.
ṣe rí ọ̀nà tí òun lò ó dẹ̀yìn youth but the other conversation wọn ẹ̀yin ọ̀dọ́ ni ó tàní tó bá bí ẹ̀dá ìwọ lọ síwájú local government lọ́la kò sọ pé ti gba country ìyá ló máa jẹ àwọn mẹ́wàá tó kù nísìn wọ́n sì wà ní pàǹtí nísìn kọ́ ló bá gba àwọn sílẹ̀.
And the depth of your organization that will retire those ahead of you, not your age.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni bàbá gọ́sìmẹ̀.
And I'm also, frankly, not very impressed with the notion that the role and power of young people is somehow postponed until elders have gone, or that there is some kind of generational queue to which we all must subscribe. Even if that was true at some point, that we must all be on some kind of queue. Today, that notion stands on very weak legs indeed. In the era of disruption and disruptive innovation, the principle that we are stronger together than in little parts.
Another lie. We are stronger together with the Fulani that is killing us, with the Fulani that is marginalizing us, with the Yoruba politician that is dealing with everybody because they do not respect the rule of law. One more put about the Yoruba nation, there will be rule of law. In command to leto. Ẹni bá ṣe ó máa láti lọ síbi tẹ́ ẹ ká fi sí.
Is a sound principle.
And for those that might probably get to this stage, it is on channels, and this was video 1 year ago. Those waiting for Nigeria to break up will be disappointed. And to be disappointed, and that's why shame not even let them go the campaign for Tinubu. Shame no fit allow this one. With Tinubu no build Tinubu ní ìyá party. Tinubu wò pé eléyìí táwọn rán lọ sásòrò tó ti gbà bọ̀dì fáwọn ó ti di Fúlàní kalẹ̀. Tinubu ò yá lọ sí campaign kankan sẹ́yìn ilé Ọ̀ṣínbàjò tó tẹ̀lé wọn lọ sí campaign wọ́n ti gba sẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ kan bàbá gọ́sìnì wọ́n ti gba sẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ kan dànù wọ́n ti gba sẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ kan Tinubu nísìn ò rí lò Tinubu wò pé Ọ̀ṣínbàjò kẹ̀ eléyìí tó fi bá wọn contest ó yá gba sẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ kan àwọn ọ̀fẹ́ nínú campaign team àwọn.
And it's my respectful view that those who advocate the breaking up of the country are terribly wrong. Orí ẹ̀ gbálẹ̀ bọ̀ pẹ̀lú ọ̀rọ̀ tó sọ nísìn. Orí ẹ̀ gbálẹ̀ ni mo sọ ìwọ bàbá kékeré ìgọ̀sìnmẹ̀. They are terribly wrong. Ṣé ká wà nínú ìlú? Ṣé ìwọ nílà káyè tó ń tí bàbá yìí sọ ní bíbà? Ẹja gbọ́n tí bàbá yìí sọ.
No, it's clash of civilization.
Ṣé bàbá Chitọ́ládé ní yóò mọ tán sọ? Torí wọ́n jẹ́ vice president madman Adéfìlà Awólọ́wọ̀ nǹkan fi dì sí gbogbo èèyàn náà nìyẹn. Tinubu ló project ẹ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo atrocity tí Tinubu ṣe lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ òun ló fún ní backing àti ọ̀dà pé ó ní chief judge ní jọ́nà náà ní 1999. Gbogbo atrocity tí yẹn ṣe gbogbo olè tó jà gbogbo bó ṣe máa gbogbo yín pátápátá gbogbo yín láti máa kó dé a máa kóra wa dé ICC bẹ́ẹ̀ bá fẹ́ gbẹ̀mí náà lọ gbogbo ẹjọ́ máa débẹ̀ ni a kóra wa lọ síbẹ̀ olúkàlùkù á lọ rojọ́ tiẹ̀ níbẹ̀ mad people all over the place ìyà ń jẹ ọmọ Yorùbá wọ́n ń gbówó lọ báwọn èèyàn ní north wọ́n ń ṣọwọ́ fún wọn nínú abúlé sábúlé kò lè sọ pé kọ́tẹ̀ jẹ́ pé ti abúlé tòun ní Rẹ́mọ kọ́tẹ̀ gbé lọ síbẹ̀ kọ́tẹ̀ fi respect bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ kọ́tẹ̀ sọ fún Dàpọ̀ Abíọ́dún pé ní Rẹ́mọ o ẹgbà gbówó lọ síbẹ̀ kọ́ ṣe owó padà fáwọn èèyàn kò lè sọ yẹn wọ́n ń gbé owó lọ sí north kò rí kankan sọ ṣé bàbá Chief Tọ́ládé ní àwọn òwà nílàkàyè tí ìwọ nìkan ló nílàkàyè bàbá gọ́sìnì.
Perceptions and clash of cultures, yes, you're right. That means we are not really integrated.
Lè integrate madman tó dẹ̀ wà lẹ́yìn yẹn sọ pé ká integrate ó náà wà tá à ń béèrè fún break up of Nigeria will be disappointed ẹ jẹ́ àgbọ̀n kan tó tún sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí.
To advocate the breaking up of the country are terribly wrong.
Ìwọ ló máa wà terribly wrong lágbára Elédùmarè madman. Òrí bó ṣe bí Tinubu ṣe yẹ̀yẹ́ olú ẹ̀ ó dọ̀mpẹ́ orípa àgbápò ni wọ́n fẹ́ jẹ́ fóun ó yà gbé sẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ kan pé léyìí kẹ̀ ọmọ àlè táwọn náà lọ pé kó lọ defend àwọn níbẹ̀ àwọn fúlàní ó ti bá fúlàní ó ti jẹ màálù bí fúlàní màálù ló ń jẹ nínú aṣọ rọ̀ bó ṣe wà yẹn ẹ̀rọ rí ẹ̀ bó ṣe rí mo fòrò ẹ̀mí ẹ̀ nígbà kan tó wá sí London ó sá lọ ògbè jáde sí títì fún mi ó sá lọ dànù ni criminal mo kí ogbẹ́ni tẹ́ wà lórí mixlr àrùjáde mo gbàgbé síbẹ̀ mo kí dáadáa mo kí ogbẹ́ni tó wà nílé ó kù díẹ̀ ẹ já padà ká gbọ́n tí bàbá ti Tọ́ládé ní àwọn èèyàn gidi nìyẹn. báyọ̀ la ṣe fẹ́ integrate báwo ni gbogbo wa ṣe fẹ́ integrate ṣé kan náà ni gbogbo wa ni tí ó bá ṣe pé wọ́n kó gbogbo àpò mọ́ àwọn ẹranko lọ́sàn-án gangan kíyàn máa bá màálù sùn kódà bí yàn bá tẹ̀ fi ṣerú kan bẹ́ẹ̀ fún obìnrin gan sẹ̀ ṣójú títì díta ló máa bá obìnrin sùn ìbí wa tẹ̀ gbedele wà tẹ̀ gbedelu yàrá kan kò wá bá obìnrin sùn ẹ rí fídíò yẹn ni ẹ à lè ṣe ẹ wà lórí Twitter mo sì rí láìpẹ́ ó dà pé ìkan náà àwọn tíìmù akàn post ẹ padà a ní kẹ́ lọ register fún Twitter a wà lórí Twitter space lánàá so àrí gbogbo yín níbẹ̀ a wà lórí Twitter space lánàá a project ẹ wá sórí Facebook because we want you a sọ fún pé guerrilla warfare government ń retí èmi nìkan lórí Facebook ó ń retí àwa media bọ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan àwa náà máa lọ sórí Twitter wọn ní mọ́bí tá wà gbogbo ẹni tó wà sórí Twitter lánàá ó bá tún di next week Saturday ẹ pàdé wa lórí Twitter ní streamer lórí YouTube àti Facebook apart from mixlr torí pé èèyàn náà dàbí bí radio version ní àti Instagram ẹni tó ò bá ní Twitter ẹ sọ fún àwọn grandchildren ní kọ́ bá ní register guerrilla warfare ni ẹ lè bá gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì tó lówó lọ́wọ́ jà ẹ lè bá wọn jà straight fight so oríṣiríṣi ọ̀nà la máa fi bá wọn jà ẹ jẹ́ ká gbọ́ díẹ̀ sí lẹ́ǹkan sí níbí báyìí.
The word in Nigerian people is a fallacy.
Fallacy ni ṣé Ọ̀ṣínbàjò a law student àbí kí ló pe rẹ̀ a graduate of kìíní kan graduate of law LLB ni ṣé kò mọ̀ pé 1999 constitution is a fraud ṣé Ọ̀ṣínbàjò gbọ́ rí pé constitution yìí o fraud ni o kò mọ̀ èmi ní ṣe máa sọ fún ṣé èmi tẹ́mi ò ka kúrú tù ni máa sọ fún Ọ̀ṣínbàjò pé constitution tẹ̀ fi run the country fraud ni it's not working for anybody and he knows but he refused to speak. Tó bá wá ẹmọ tó máa ṣe tó bá máa ṣe tán nísìn ó lè lọ sí ó máa kúrò Nàìjíríà definitely ó lè wá jókòó sí UK àbí kó lọ Amẹ́ríkà kò ní padà sí lecture room ní Nàìjíríà definitely wọ́n lè employer ó lè lọ sí any country around the world ó lè lọ sí Australia kó lè máa ṣe lecturing níbẹ̀ ìgbà inú máa wá kọ̀wé my time in Aso Rock àwa máa kọ gbogbo nonsense gbogbo tó ẹ̀kọ́ ti ṣe just as wèrè PhD drunkard yẹn tó ń pè ní Jonathan. It is when they leave the power, that's when they always now know the right thing to do. Ìgbà yẹn lórí wọn máa sọ pé we could have done it like this, we could have done it like that. 8 good years mo tẹ̀ ń wá kínní yẹn ni mo fi síbí báyìí nísìnyí ẹjẹ́ máa play lè lọ. We face the comparison ìtẹ́ ìrà ní 2015 and 2016.
In those days, you would say there have always been Igbo markets, HAUSA markets in Enugu. There have always been Sabos in Jagamu. But those Sabos were occupied by HAUSAs. HAUSAs are peaceful people. We traded in Kolanot. Even the few Fulanis that came with them at that time, when you had the Sabo in Jagamu or Ibadan here, they would still look for one Fulani man and make him their Seriki. How did the HAUSA accept? They were subdued. They were subdued by their language. They were subdued. Of course, they extirpated the Second Kingdom.
Yẹn ni káwa dúró dè. Ṣé yẹn ni káwa dúró dè? When this Pastor Ruga is talking nonsense, ẹ yẹ ká tún bọ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí i, ká lè close chapter tiẹ̀.
Respectful view that those who are advocating the breaking up of the country are terribly wrong.
Bàbá ẹ̀ ló máa wà terribly wrong.
It's crucial for geopolitical and economic relevance.
Shut up! Gbogbo lọ́tà máa ń padì yẹn geopolitical or economic nìkan gbogbo all these lies that tí kò make anything just as ọ̀rẹ́ ẹni bíbá ẹ̀ náà sọ the attempt to break up Nigeria is not productive. Ẹ jẹ́ ká máa tẹ̀ ní láti gbá wọn méjèèjì mọ́ let's just get them out. Now ẹ jẹ́ ká tún padà sí slide yẹn again slide tá à ń bá lọ nísìn. I'll just quickly refer, back into the introduction. In January 1970, the idea of an independent Biafra state was crushed when the military forces of the federal government of Nigeria overran the rebel territories culminating in the unconditional surrender of the remnant of the Biafran leadership. Are we going to see the same thing this time around? No, because this time around, the Yorubas and the rest of the people are saying, we want to go as well. The military is already divided internally. This surrender effectively brought to an end 30 months of military conflict, which arose in the context of establishing whether the oil-rich eastern region of the country should stay within the Nigeria state. Not surprisingly, the event has continued to attract widespread attention for some time now. Activists from both sides of the conflict have documented their account of the war. Independent commentators, scholars have attempted various explanations for the causes of the civil war. Kí ló fà, kí ló dé, kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀, why the killings of so many people? All that is not going to happen this time around because the world is much more open. Níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn kò sí communication. So Nigerian government come gbasif everybody ní British then kó weapon fún wọn. But this time around, ayé ti lajú and people are prepared to sacrifice their life so that they can have their own independent country. His execution and the attendant social and political consequences, while some commentators have more specifically examined the economic cost and the consequence of the civil war. Thus far, however, contributions on the road of oil, epo iná ni, crude oil iná ni, in the conflict have been limited to speculation on his role in the embodiment the Biafran rebels. They call even Mandela terrorists. They call the IRA terrorists. But today, they are all sitting and drinking tea with the Western power. So don't worry, even if we are called secessionists, but we have the right to self-determination. We are not criminals. What we are doing, what we are saying is what will give us part of the system that will enable us to break that shithole country called Nigeria. But the question tonight is, Nigeria is at the imminent to break up. What has been said by Buhari, Tinubu, the Western world, the Yoruba, the Igbo, the Middle Belt, and the question again is, are we seeing the final end of the 1914 amalgamation? On our Twitter space, we also have a poll that we have opened up there. You can go and also quickly, sign that poll. And what is that poll about? Let me bring it up quickly, and I'll share that link for you. The poll is just asking 3 questions. Share Yoruba nation, Biafra nation, or the 2023 general election? And all you just have to accept is yes or no. It is open up to the 7 days. So when talk about on Twitter, it's just to gauge. And as you can see already, Yoruba nation is trending up to just 42.5. The Biafra nation is saying 44%. Arewa nation 0.6. So it shows that people in the north are not ready, and we cannot wait for them. And even those that want the election is still 12.9. So when talk about the program, 518 people have voted. I am the one that set it up. It's just to continue to use these because these are part of what we are going to present as well. And these are also documents that is visible. So I'm going to share the link later, but it is right there. Let's share it into our different WhatsApp. So in tó bá ti bá pàdé, click lé lórí, kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ṣe kí ni, ẹ fẹ́ Yoruba nation. If we set it up, it's just koikimedia. So it's got nothing to do with United Nations. It has nothing to do with the European Union or African Union. But it's also good to gauge. So that kátẹ̀lé mọ̀ pọ́n tá à ń ṣe, like I told you before, àwọn tó ń gbọ́ wa jù ní Nàìjíríà ló wà. The next country tó ń gbọ́ wa jù lágbàáyé òun America, ètò tẹ̀lé ní UK. So tẹ́ bá ti bá pàdé, ẹ ṣe kí ni, kẹ́ bá wa lọ tọwọ́ bọ̀. And it's free. Nobody pays. At the moment, Ocean lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́, ẹ̀dẹ̀ bá wa ṣe kí ni, carry Twitter. So I don't ask you to share programs because it's just algorithm. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá share kò má tà. Ibi tó bá ló máa dé. So gbogbo yẹn energy nìyẹn kàn máa bọ́ọ̀nù ni. Let's come back again quickly here because we still have a few more slides to talk about. So, à ń wo in tó fa ìjà ogun Biafra àti pé eléyìí tó ń bọ̀ nísìnyí tí Buhari àti Ọ̀ṣínbàjò àti gbogbo àwọn criminal politicians yìí ní ilẹ̀ Igbo àti Middle tó fẹ́ dá sílẹ̀ ṣápá wọn máa ga. The link is already shared out. Ẹni tó bá ti bá link ẹ pàdé ẹ máa bọ̀wọ̀ lù lọ ni. So it is there. It's just a simple question on Koikimedia Twitter. ṣé Yorùbá nation lẹ fẹ́ ṣé Biafra nation la fẹ́ ṣàfẹ́ dìbò ni and all you just have to do is just àti share link ẹ̀ mà tó share síta again and tó bá ti bá pàdé you know it's good at least now àmọ̀ báwọn èèyàn fẹ́ lọ they might tell you that Yoruba people are not serious but we are now also coming up there on the Twitter ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ sórí ó yẹ ká máa trend lójoojúmọ́ ni yes I know Buba Galadima say one governor imagine one governor ẹ̀yin tẹ́ máa sọ pé bàbá kí tó yẹ kówó jẹ màá play video ẹ̀ fún yín later Buba Galadima sọ fún wa pé one particular governor ó ṣe kí ni ó ní 22 billion naira nínú ilé ẹ̀ kábíyèsí Elédùmarè 22 billion ló ní 22 billion. lẹ́ǹkan sí mo kí gbogbo àwọn koikimedia team ẹni tó bá sọ pé àwa need owó because we need money from the media perspective to continue to run the operation of what we do. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin Axoba ẹ̀yin àgbàlagbà tẹ́tí ṣe tán dádì wa pọn pé mi láti America wọ́n ní 1953 or 56 kọ́ láwọn graduate. He was so happy to know that I'm Axoba as well. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ lọ sí different schools náà Baptist Boys High School and all that and like we always say Yoruba nation is non-negotiable. Ní kankan ṣe pẹ̀lú political party. Endorse Tinubu, endorse Peter Obi, they endorse Atiku. Kódà bí Sowore bí ṣe like ẹ̀ tó, endorse Sowore náà. Kúkú ní dìbò fún Sowore anyway. So let's come back and look into some more files that we have for us. So eléyìí náà máa share pẹ̀lú yín for anybody that wants to use it as well. After this, I will not be able to go into it because I have more slides to go into. And at 3 hours, I want to open my phone line, and we are just 2 hours 21 minutes, so that we'll have about 2 more hours for conversation and calls to call in. Tẹ́ bá pè, ẹ ní láti bọ́ anybody. I want to give you that room, but àti sọ fún wọn pé wọ́n gba country, so I ní láti bọ́ anybody yan ṣe anything. Mo dẹ̀ ti challenge wọn tó lè wá bá mi discuss anytime about any platform. Mo ready fún wọn. Any one of them. Our proof ẹ̀pọ̀n àti gba country kì í knock wọn off under 1 hour, 2 hours. So but tẹ́ bá pè, ẹ lè sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí. Or most importantly, the imminent breakup. Ẹ tó bá dẹ̀ máa pè, ẹ bá mute background yìí, but not now. Ẹ tẹ̀lé get me listening because the line is still officially closed. Once again, let's go back. Àti gbọ́ díẹ̀ nínú ti bàbá wa yìí, so we probably don't need it anymore. So let me just take that away. Ìyẹn bàbá Chief Tola Adeniyi. We love him so much. Ijile Marcos. I got in touch with the family in Turkey. They are not affected with the pẹ̀lú earthquake tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Turkey, but Ọlọ́run ọba Elédùmarè á bá wa mú ìlú yẹn dúró because we have a lot of Yoruba people there, even some that are Nigerians, Igbo, àwọn Hausa pọ̀ níbẹ̀, ibẹ̀ ló ti ń kàwé púpọ̀ nù wọ́n wá sí UK mọ́ nísìnyí ibẹ̀ ló ti ń kàwé because ẹ mọ̀ Arab country ni, so wọ́n lè sọ Arab síra wọn níbẹ̀, so and ọgbọ̀n máa lọ kọ́ èdè because èdè níbẹ̀ yẹn náà, so gbogbo àwọn tó jẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá tó wà níbẹ̀ Ọlọ́run bá ń dúró tì yín ànírí wàhálà o. Wọ́n sì ń pull àwọn èèyàn up to today. Ẹni tọ́lọ́run bá ná sí kò tí tó náà nìyẹn. Ẹ jẹ́ ká máa rántí Ìjìnlẹ̀ Marcus. It does not matter whether Ìjìnlẹ̀ was promoting òmìnira. It does not matter. He's a Yoruba man. He was fighting a good cause. And I was happy that I met him last 2 years ago ni mo lọ sí Turkey. I can't remember now. Mo ṣáà mọ̀ pé mo meet ẹ̀. Bí ṣe sọ pé mo wà ní Turkey. He came all the way. Mo ti bá ẹni tó close mọ́ tó jẹ́ family ẹ̀ á sọ̀rọ̀. There's still no any updates. 33,000 people have died. Then the number keeps growing, but there are more people that have died in earthquake in Nigeria from hunger and all kind of different things. So there's still no update on Ijile. Again, I know this motion. Tamani Baba Oseni, Mama wa Fashakin, Yoruba World Media, ló wà nípa ọ̀rọ̀ Ijile. Ìbá bára lọ gbogbo yẹn bá dùgbò yẹn nonsense talk gbogbo yẹn. Ẹ kó jágbàjàgbà lọ jàre. Ẹ má kó gbogbo yẹn wá sọ́dọ̀ tiwa ní bíbá. Ẹ má kó gbogbo yẹn wá sí bíbá. Níbo ni kí ni Ìjìnlẹ̀ fẹ́ ṣe tá máa lọ sọ fún Turkey pé Ìjìnlẹ̀ ó ṣe burúkú sí wa o, kí ló fẹ́ le tó yẹn? Tàbá tẹ̀ ń bára wa jà bí ká sọ pé kíyàn kú ni. Tinubu gan mo gbàdúrà pé kó kú, so gbogbo àwọn tó bá ní motion yẹn ẹgbẹ́ gbogbo nonsense yẹn. And we're not begging anybody. Platform yìí ò ń ṣe platform ti jágbàjàgbà. We want you to speak your mind, but kò ń ṣe pé ká máa sọ èèyàn Buba Galadima sọ pé èèyàn kó 22 billion naira owó Nàìjíríà ó wà nínú ilé ẹ̀. Èyí wá point the finger sí bàbá Akintoye, ẹ lọ gbé bàbá tí ń jáde. Mad people all over the place. 22 billion ló mọ tẹ́mi bá rí 1 billion yẹn máa dá Nàìjíríà rò láti gbà láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ Yorùbá nation tó bá yẹ pé mo rí 1 billion naira máa dá Nàìjíríà rò brand new ni máa ní kọ́ lọ rà fún mi anywhere tó bá ti lè kó wá máa ní kọ́ helicopter just anywhere ní gbogbo state ó dẹ̀ ti yé nǹkan tí mo mí nǹkan má fi gbẹnu sọ̀rọ̀ brand new ni máa ní kọ́ lọ rà fún mi máa ní 1 billion naira máa ti bà nǹkan jẹ́ ẹ̀yin bá máa bẹ̀ mo sọ fún yín pé kẹ́ máa dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ìgbòho ni kẹ́ máa dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ìgbà tèmi lọ́lé yàrá ni pé Koiki come back home wèrè mò ń bọ̀ tó bá yẹ wàá bọ́ sí títì but máa ti bọ́ sí títì nísìn until tí a bá sọ pé ká push orí wa lọ bọ́ sí títì nísìn kọ́ máa lọ rò pé ọ̀rọ̀ under òmìnira la wà òmìnira yàtọ̀ sí ọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá nation o bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mo sọ láti 3 years ago elephant lá ní Nàìjíríà lọ́kùnrin ṣe pé kí àkọ́wá máa fi gimmick tó bá yẹ pé energy tí gbogbo wa ń bá bọ̀ la fi bá dé sàlẹ̀ ní last year ni àti nígbà tó ti lọ gbé babaluz ṣé babaluz lọ máa ń pe kinní yẹn VULA babaluz ẹ sọ nǹkan tó wà important ẹ sọ de àwàdà kẹríkẹrí lórí social media àti fún gbọ̀ngàn lówó àti ṣe kíní kankiri lọ ní àwọn politician tó ń kó yín lómi ọbẹ̀ jẹ́ tó ń nà yín gbalẹ́gba lójoojúmọ́ àwọn olè politician ẹ bá bínú mo fún ìyàwó mi gan tẹ ní ó ní tèbó promise àwọn fans ẹ pé ó máa jáde lánàá ẹgbàá mi tó bá dẹ̀rẹ̀ bọ́dì kí la máa ṣe sí ohun mi kì í jáde lánàá ó ní bọ̀wọ́ náà ló sọ fún wọn pé ó máa jáde ẹ má bínú kódà àtàárọ̀ ló ti ń yọ mí lẹ́nu pé àwọn tiẹ̀ ń dúró díẹ̀ ò sọ̀rọ̀ lé ní oní máa sọ̀rọ̀ kò tá ọjọ́júmọ́ ti bá jáde mo lọ́rọ̀ tí mo fẹ́ sọ mo ní slide mo fẹ́ present fún yín kò ní bàjẹ́ fún ẹ gbogbo ẹni tẹ́ ti wọlé mo ì tí dárúkọ yín ni ẹ fọkàn balẹ̀ àjọ máa tá tán ni àníyàn ẹni ọgbẹ́ oníkó ìkìlọ̀ wá ṣe mo ya blọọkì wèrè dànù iṣẹ́ ni mò ń ṣe yìí àwa la ní síyá àgbẹ̀yìn wàláì àwa la ní síyá àgbẹ̀yìn àwa ta ní faith yẹn jẹ́ ká fọkàn balẹ̀ Ìgbòho dúró tán ni pápá bàbá Akíntóyè dúró tán pápá mad people all over the place ìyá mi ní kí n má ṣe pé fún yín but mad people all over the place mo kí gbogbo ẹni ti Badagry mo kí gbogbo state kọ̀ọ̀kan má ṣàlọ jáde kó sọ pé o ti gba nation o wàláì àwọn tó wà ní pant mo ṣeré o ìkànnì wọn all get in touch pẹ̀lú wọn ní kọ́ lọ pé Koiki ni o ọ̀rọ̀ tí mò ń sọ yìí pé mi ò ní sọ̀rọ̀ kí n má ní bòbò ń ṣe pé mo lè máa ẹ̀rọ pé mi ò kí n play àwọn play ọdún kí ní kàn pẹ̀lú ogun yẹn àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ àpá àwọn tọ̀dọ̀ tí àwọn obìnrin wa lọ máa ń bínú bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ máa ń pè mí ò ní ilẹ̀ ọdún kankan ó ní kọ́ lọ pé Koiki ni nígbà tó sọ fún mi pé ní ẹ báyìí mo ní tí má bẹ̀ go into too much details ẹ lọ gbà wọ́n sílẹ̀ kẹgbà wọ́n sílẹ̀ nínú ìlú olẹ́gbà ìlú kọ́ ìlú ni ẹ sọ Yorùbá nation dáwàdà kẹ́ríkẹ́rí lórí social media ẹ bá lo 8 hours ká lo 10 hours lórí media kò mátà content ló mátà ká bá àwọn èèyàn sọ̀rọ̀ pé lóòtítọ́ lódodo ok gbogbo tí mo ti sọ ní 2 hours nísìn ṣé mi nìkan mo sọ pé Nàìjíríà máa pín èèyàn dẹ̀ we have a lot of things to talk about advantage even disadvantage àwọn kan tún wà concern pé ìjà àní ní warlord tàbá break up mono possible bọ̀kátẹ̀ sí kúrò ní Nàìjíríà kódà mo lè lọ dọ̀bálẹ̀ fẹ́ lómi tàbá ti gba Yorùbá nation ẹ má bínú ẹ mọ̀ pé ara ń ta gbogbo àgbà yẹn ni ṣé ká ṣe wà ní Nàìjíríà ló dáa ni ṣé bá ṣe wà ní Nàìjíríà ló pé gbogbo wa ni Nàìjíríà tó ń oppress gbogbo wa ẹni tó lówó gan oppress ẹ wo ọmọ tó ń kú ní Christian kọ́lọ̀ bá ọkùnrin kẹ lágége ṣé tó bá jẹ́ pé country tó dáa wàláì tó bá jẹ́ pé mi ni governor lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ yìí máa ti gbogbo school yẹn pa wọn ò dẹ̀ ní ṣí school yẹn mọ́ Christian ẹ máa tó ń sọ ní Christian ni ọmọ 12 years old yes people can die people die here every day but kò ń ṣe pé ẹ wá ṣe gbé láti ibi transport kò sí medical system kò sí nothing ọkọ̀ waste life ọmọ yẹn dànù 12 years old ìyẹn wá ń sunkún lórí social media tó yẹ kó ti lọ sí school yẹn kó juná sí kí gbogbo ẹ̀ kó bọ́n wá sísàlẹ̀ ẹ ní bára àwọn adán nọ́sẹ̀sì wò èmi ló wá jẹ́ pé mi ìyá wọn máa dáná sí gbogbo petrol sóyà tó school yẹn wálẹ̀ ọmọ là ń sọ yìí wọ́n gbé ọmọ tó ń wà nínú transport kò sí any medical kankan nínú transport wọ́n wá náà wọ́n tún ìyá ẹ̀ tún náà wọ́n tún bèèrè pé ó kí ló gbà tí ìlú ò gbádùn tó bá yẹ pé ìlú gbádùn ni bó ṣe pọ́ǹchẹ̀ pé ó dà ń pé kí lọ́pọ̀ orúkọ hospital yẹn bí Agége hospital àbí kinní kan ìyá ẹ̀ náà fi sórí Google ìyá ẹ̀ gan tẹ̀ waste time rẹ̀ ó náà fi sórí Google òun wá ń wá Agége Central Mosque gbàtẹ́ pé ọ̀rọ̀ mọ́ṣáláṣí àti church bó ṣe nígbà téèyàn fi Agége hospital sí tó ń gbé mosque jáde ẹ̀rí pé wèrè country mo bá yín kẹ́dùn ara tá à ń sọ nìyẹn gbogbo ala máa jẹ breakfast èmi náà ní family níbẹ̀ January 2nd èmi náà lose èèyàn nílé kódà nígbà tó l'accident gbogbo tó wà lára ẹ̀ lọ́tún jí ànílù tó gbádùn ní ká fi náà sí kó gbogbo ẹ̀kọ́ wálẹ̀ àwọn kan ní Koiki máa ká jó kankan àní ká jó gbogbo ẹ̀kọ́ wálẹ̀ ká kọ́ new structure ká kọ́ new building wèrè people ẹ jẹ́ ká máa bá ètò lọ mo ní àǹfààní àwọn kan tó ṣe program tó ṣe phone line so àbámọ̀ Yorùbá kankan jà òtítọ́ là ń sọ ẹni tí gbà níbo lẹ gbà sí àdúgbò wo lẹ gbà sí ẹ kàn wọ́n ń da mind àwọn èèyàn rú ẹ ń fi wọn báyìí a ní kí gbogbo àtọ̀ sójú kan kó ṣu rárá ṣé àpàdé oníbẹ̀rẹ̀ títí ọmọ olúkà gan tó mú iwá gan sẹ̀ tó gan ó ti forí gbá mo sọ fún pé wọ́n pè mí sí mítì kan nílá láyé ẹ má tún pè mí sínú mítì báyìí mọ́ irú mítì jágbajàgba wo kọ́ ìkílẹ̀ mi jẹ́ ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú Òde òkun lé bèkà tí wọ́n bá ti dé wọn pé gbọ́n kankan tẹ̀ super chat ni ó lè kó bá mo bá jáde lẹ́ẹ̀mejì ó máa fún mi lówó ẹni àníìdó tẹ́yìn ò bá nídòwó èmi nídòwó ẹni pé kí lọ wáṣẹ́ àwọn ìjọba ẹ bá rò pé ti wà lárẹ́ ẹ bá tẹ̀ ń fẹ́ máa sàn ẹ́ fáwọn tó wà Nàìjíríà condition ni mo sọ fún yín tó bá jẹ́ pé mi lọ́mọ lúkà máa fọ́ fóònù yẹn mọ́lẹ̀ ní má lè ṣe fídíò ẹ̀ kò ní dá fún gbogbo yín ẹ fẹ́ send fóònù ẹ wá ní sọ pé ìyẹn gbé lamẹ́ríkà and so what tó bá jẹ́ pé Nàìjíríà dání ó jẹ́ káwọn tó wà nílé máa send owó sáwa nì torí pé ẹ wá ń gbé lamẹ́ríkà ẹ wá ń sọ pé ẹ káwa lọ wáṣẹ́ ẹ lè sọ ẹ fẹ́ mi o bí àwọn tó wà nílé o gbogbo àjọ wà ní Europe ni o èmi náà ti wà ní bíbá for 24 years mo dẹ̀ visa ni mo fi wọlé mo dẹ̀ ń ṣe illegal immigrant so bí ẹ bá ń push narrative yẹn fáwọn tó wà nílé tí kò jẹ́ kẹ́ máa push torí pé ti fún wa nìkan àwa ti wà divided ẹ wá ń gbà máa fọ́ fóònù yẹn mọ́lẹ̀ ni kò ní da fún gbogbo yín àwọn wo ẹ fẹ́ máa bùgá sí ìyá yẹn ni pé mo kàn block ẹni mo tẹ̀ fún lẹ́sì ó wọ status mi ni ó wá sọ pé kódà ó tún sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ó ní bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń gbà owó birthday ó ń reference sí Ìgbòho ẹ̀yin ìyàwó èrè mad people all over the place ẹ̀yin ìkà tábí ọmọ lẹ́yìn yẹn tábí ọmọ lẹ́yìn èmi pariwo fún 3 years ẹ mọ̀ pé ariwo tí mò ń pa lójoojúmọ́ yẹn ó ṣí mind ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ kúrò lára Nàìjíríà ó wá di pé ìyá ní tìrì dé nísìn ó wá fi fraction sáàrin gbogbo wa ẹ wá ń point finger pé ó lè là wá kò ní da fún gbogbo yín mad people all over the place ẹ ní sóríire ìyá mi ti ní kí n máa ṣépè mọ́ ẹ yá padà sórí program ibo ló kù sí o sì ní a lot of slide. Should the world help break up Nigeria? Ìwọ world má bá wa break up o. Nigeria gan máa break up fún rẹ̀. This is another article. 2012 lọ ti kọ́ article yìí ẹ̀yin wèrè. Ṣé mi ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ Yorùbá nation? Ṣé mi ti gbọ́ pé Nigeria gan ó gbọ́dọ̀ break? Ṣé èmi tẹ̀mí fa gbùrù tí mò ń ṣiṣẹ́ lọ́nà ọmọdéṣẹ́ tí mo wà lẹ́rẹ̀ tí mò ń ṣe níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn? Yusuf Zaki àwọn yẹn dúró fún Koiki ni àti ìyá mi gbé mi lékè. Mo kí gbogbo àwọn mídíà láti orí wọn títí dé sàlẹ̀. Wọ́n bá gbogbo wọ́n fẹ́ sọ Yorùbá world media wọ́n fẹ́ nọ́kẹ̀ kí kọ́ lè gbé àjẹ́ńdà tí wọ́n wọlé tó bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mo sọ àti ló ń jẹ́ black line jágbajàgba o ẹ pé jágbajàgba kúrò lórí yín níjà ló jágbajàgba lọ mo kí ọgbẹ́yìn Koiki Media team ìkan tẹ̀ ní pé bí a ká fún wọn lésì mo ní láyé ẹ fi wọn lẹ̀ pé mi ẹ̀yẹn ní láti fẹ́ anybody lésì à ń ṣe fracas but èmi mọ bí ṣe máa fún wọn jẹ ní bíbá èmi máa sọ̀rọ̀ pẹ̀lú intelligent ni èmi máa bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ máa jókòó ká máa ṣe máa lọ máa ẹ̀yin jágbajàgba wo tó bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mo sọ níbo ta ló mọ kò lóyún rí ẹ sọ agboolé yín ní lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ọmọ Òṣòdì ni wọ́n sì tèmi ẹ sọ agboolé yín ta ló mọ̀ yín rí ta ló mọ gbogbo yín rí ta ló mọ kò lóyún rí mad people all over the place èmi wá jẹ́gẹ́ yín tẹ́ máa sọ pé kí n lọ wáṣẹ́ iṣẹ́ ni mò ń ṣe lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ yìí ẹ̀ mọ́ àbẹ́mọ̀ ni ẹnu iṣẹ́ lèmi wà mo ti sáàbù queen tó fi kú mo san tax mo dẹ̀ ti sáàbù Yorùbá nation dáadáa mo lè má lówó lọ mo sọ fún ọmọ mi láàárọ̀ ẹ̀ mo pé àjọ ń sọ̀rọ̀ bàbá àtọmọ mo ní títí ayé máa fi parẹ́ ẹ máa gbádùn kú ni ní tí mo ti ṣe sílẹ̀ èmi àwa ṣiṣẹ́ dé ìgbà yẹn kan wá point finger pé èmi gbà bọ̀dẹ̀ èmi ìkan náà wà ń bẹ̀ máa wà ní program wọn máa jókòó bẹ̀ máa kọ́ máa ka comment máa kọ́ máa wò pé ṣé gbogbo káwọn ilé wa òkè sábà ó ní Koiki lọ dalẹ̀ Koiki ló lè kìnnìkan máa náà jẹ́ máa wọ́n lè èyí tí yà ń jẹ mad people 2012 lọ́tọ́ sọ pé Nàìjíríà máa pín wọ́n bá ń béèrè pé ṣé káàgbáyé wá help wa láti pín Nàìjíríà ṣé mi mo kátìkù yìí àbí mo ṣe lọ ráìtẹ̀ mo gbé sórí social media ṣé internet máa ń parọ́ ṣé internet máa ń parọ́ a ní kẹ́ fọkàn balẹ̀ yìí fẹ́ wà nílé ẹ kó bread ẹ kó ọ̀gànyìn ẹ̀jẹ̀ kò jẹ́ kọ́ ọlọ́pàá jẹ bread àtàgbẹ̀ ẹ̀wà ọ̀gànyìn dànù àwọn ọlọ́pàá yàn dànù wọ́n mú omi sí gánṣẹ́ ẹ̀wà ọ̀gànyìn tẹ́kẹ́ gbé sínú ilé kẹ́kẹ́ jẹ kẹsì èèyàn ẹ lè má ṣe awareness ẹ ní ẹ̀fẹ́ ṣe awareness ẹ lọ kí ló ń pè ní ìgbọ́lẹ̀ tí ń gbé ọlọ́pàá